Welcome to another episode of the Sipping and Tripping podcast, where we connect with amazing people. Today's topic is it okay to have opposite sex best friends while in a relationship? I am your host, Desmond Black, and today I have a whole smorgasbord of women today. Right now we have Ellie and Amelie. Others should be joining momentarily, but I'll join them in when they get here. But without further ado, as you all know, I like to conversate, educate, and entertain. So let's jump right into the topic for the day. Um, so I guess we'll start with Ellie. So I'm gonna ask you the question: do you agree that you of having opposite sex best friends while in a relationship?
Absolutely. I don't see much wrong with that. I think it's a perspective of everybody's own journey of healing, I would say.
Okay. So you say you don't find nothing wrong with it at all?
Nope. No, I don't
Oh,
think that it's wrong or right. I think that it's really up to every individual to really see why this is something that they would be bothered with. Because if they are
okay.
bothered with something like that, it's because within them there's something that needs to be healed. It's basically the pretty much the same thing for a lot of things in our lives, but that's not different for me. It's just it doesn't make it, like I said, I've been in situations where I've had a best friend and I've been in a relationship, and I mean, if you're very honest and you're someone who's trustworthy and your partner trusts you because he loves you, then there's
Right.
absolutely nothing wrong with having that. I think that there are people that we have in our lives that we relate to way much than maybe the opposite sex. Like, for instance, I get along with a lot more men than with women, so I would be very sad to have a partner who would not who would not accept me having guy friends, because it's just, it's just easier for me to be closer to guys, in a lot of ways. And yeah, I think it comes from insecurity when you're starting to really just check all of that. And like I said, like, if someone has a best friend and the other person is worried about it, I think that it's very much because the other person maybe has something to heal inside of them. Well, it's probably, yeah, I would say it has everything to do with the fact that that person cannot just trust that, because there's something that happened in his past maybe that they've been through, and it was the same situation, or I don't know what it is, but I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that for sure.
Got you. Now I have so many questions, but I'm gonna ask the same question to Amelie. Do you agree with having opposite sex best friends while in a relationship?
Um, so I mean, I'm going to agree with Ellie on a lot of the points. And, for the fact that it really is like your inner world of, can I trust my partner? Can I, do I trust myself? Are there insecurities there? Is there healing that needs to be done? Or have I healed from past traumatic relationships that would kind of lead me into maybe not having so many girl best friends and more men best friends? Um, but for me, I look at it as, where are you, as far as how invested are you in a relationship? How conscious are you of those relationships that you have? How conscious of a relationship do you have with yourself? Because it really starts inward, first and foremost. Like, for example, for the last 5 years, I've chosen to be single. And I chose that not because there aren't a whole bunch of guys that want to be with me. It's because I knew if I jumped out of my relationship that I was in and I didn't clear some of the trauma that I had within that relationship, then going into a new one, I would just be repeating that same cycle. So I did a conscious separation, and it wasn't conscious on his end. It was conscious on my end. I was like, we're not going anywhere.
Right.
And then secondly, can you have a best friend? I mean, I had a lot of very good guy friends at work, and I was able to separate myself during that 10-year relationship. I was able to separate myself from the guys. Now, when I started having feelings for some of them, like where it went beyond that, that's where it kind of gets really messy. Then you have to make a
Right.
conscious decision of, am I going to stay in that relationship, or am I going to I don't want to say move out, but where am I going to like address this and really have a firm boundary? Because if you don't have
Right.
boundaries, then that's where things get messy. And some
Right.
people just are a little bit more hearts and a little less mind. And I think when their heart speaks to them and they have that feeling or that interaction, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to go for it. And then you end up having cheaters because they don't want to hurt this other person by saying, I'm
Right.
leaving you. And they don't want to deal with the muck of that. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes around that. But I have a lot of men relationships that are very platonic and I have no sexual interest in them whatsoever. And so I think you just have to know what inside yourself, what boundary are you going to exercise, and can you control yourself consciously in those situations?
Mhm.
Right. Just give me 1 second. I want to join somebody in for a second. Uh, Alrighty. Yeah, so my older brother wanted to tag along for a little bit, but I know he has his own podcast in a half hour, so I guess he's gonna keep it brief. So okay, so Ellie said that for her, it's she find it easier to have male friends than females. Do you feel the same way?
Do I find it the same?
Yes.
I have a pretty I have a pretty solid mix of friendships. I find myself a little bit more closer with my girlfriends than I am with my guy friends. Like I share different things with them. So with
Right.
girls, it's more feelings. What am I going to do in this situation? This, this relationship is going this way. That's not necessarily something that I'm going to divulge into a man. In my
Right.
male relationships, it's different. We're palling around, we're going and doing things, and they're included in like my social circle. Anytime that it feels weird or like there's some sort of contention, then obviously that needs to be addressed
Right.
from both parties. But I grew up with brothers. I did not have any sisters, and so I
Mm,
can't say that I don't have good male relationships because that's what I grew up with. I
right.
think when it comes to how I relate to each of the sexes, there's a difference there.
Okay, okay. Now, Chef, you just joined, so I'm gonna ask you that question. Um, is it okay to have opposite sex best friends while in a relationship?
All right, you gotta give me some stipulations on the relationship.
What do you mean? I think
Like,
the
is the
question is
relationship
straightforward,
no?
ain't it?
Because no. If the relationship is new and you have this opposite sex friend prior to that, and then you gotta look at that. That's why I'm asking you that.
Well,
Because if
answer it
if,
how
if
you
I'm
see.
in a no, if you're in
Go
a
ahead.
relationship with a person, right,
Hmm.
and you have a best friend already, you
Hmm.
can't just eliminate that friendship. That's why I asked you that. You have to, like, okay, if I'm in see, it's different with you to ask me marriage, but a relationship is different because guess what? I'm serious. If you have a best friend prior to a new relationship, you can't just end
Right.
that relationship. You know what I'm saying? You can't
Okay.
just end it because that's your best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah,
So I just wanted you to answer it like as you see fit, right? But since you wanted me to break it down, now what's the difference between whether that relationship is new versus whether it's something that was developed already for you?
it's the level of the relationship because depending on, like, all right, I'm just gonna give you an example of myself. Like, if I was in a long relationship with a female, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a best female friend, right,
Mm-hmm.
if that best friend, female friend, respects me, she gonna say, you know what? Now there's boundaries automatically made already for her because she's like, you in a relationship, it seems like you about to get married. So now because you about to get married, there's different boundaries now. Because when you get into a relationship that forms into a marriage, guess what? You can't have a female best friend and you getting ready to get married, bro. That ain't happening.
And why is that? You just said so.
You,
All right,
because
hold on.
your significant other is supposed to be your best friend. That's where you learn one another unconditionally, because you're going to accept them of their flaws and their best version of them. So when you're in a relationship that turns into a marriage, that partner is your best friend. You share everything, because you know what, you have bedtime talk, and see that you don't share that with your best friend. And we talk about the opposite sex, so you're not going to share that. So it's things that you should not share with your female best friend if you in a relationship that turns into a marriage. That's not happening. And some people do it. That I respect it, but it's not supposed to happen, because that means you really not putting your future wife to a level that you can't put your best friend. That's opposite sex.
Okay, so let's take marriage out for a second here. You said if you already established that person was your best friend, right, of the opposite sex, when you in a relationship, you can't just get rid of them, right? So okay, so now you're in a relationship, years progress, right? Tack on them years. Now you decide to get married. You just said you can't cut out your best friend. So now you get married, you cut the person out. I'm a little confused here.
You never had, and I'm talking to you ladies too. You never had a best friend, and then you got a new friend that turned to a best friend as well. There's levels. You got different, right? So guess what? That opposite sex best friend is not going to supersede your future wife. That's getting ready.
I never said supersede though. I said, do you agree with having an opposite sex best friend while in a relationship?
Nah, you can't, bro. You can't.
Why not?
Let's be real. It's a lot of factors that play a part. Even if the person is mature, guess what? There's still boundaries that you have to create.
Okay.
You got to create those boundaries. Guess what? Your best friend usually come over to your house anytime they want. They might even got a key to your house. But now, guess what? That's going to have to cut, because guess what? You have to make new boundaries that best friend opposite sex can't cross, because you're in a relationship. See what I'm saying?
Okay.
You got to look at it like that. Yeah.
I don't know. So, all right. So I'm going to go to Ellie, then we'll go to Amelie for a second. So, Ellie, so what he was saying, this is what I was struggling with. Like, so let's say you had a opposite sex best friend, like you were single, right, for like 5 years, and you established a best friend of the opposite sex, and y'all was friends for 5 years, and then you get into this newfound relationship, and your partner says, "No, I'm not okay with that." Like, well, what do you do with that best friend? That's what I'm saying. It's now it's a slippery slope. Don't get me wrong, but in that instance, if your partner is saying, "I'm not okay with that," what do you do?
Again, the reason why the partner might say I'm not okay with that is because he's feeling insecurities about what's going on between the best friend and the friend. Like, let's keep it real. Like, the term best friend can be changed. Like, the perspective of a best friend, the way that you see someone as a best friend, or you just see that one as a close friend, or it's just so many terms all over the place. I just feel like if two people get to know each other and they're authentic with each other from the beginning, and they talk about their lives and they're not hiding anything from each other, I don't see a problem having a good male friend, for instance, as a woman, unless there's absolutely something that is obvious between the two, where there is absolutely chemistry, that is romantic chemistry, that the other person would be hiding from the partner. But if there's no romantic chemistry at all between these two people, there's absolutely no reason why the other person would be jealous. And if they are jealous, then again, it comes from them. They have to look at why they are still not trusting this person that is telling them authentically, no, this is just my friend. He's been a friend for a while, and we've always hanged out. And yeah, of course, he's not just going to pop in with a key, like you said. I totally agree with that. Yes, of course, there are boundaries that are different, because now, yes, you have a new partner in your life, and it means something is going to change between the best friend and the other person. Like, I think that people have to adjust, obviously. But if there is absolutely no romantic chemistry that has been developing and is developing, I really don't see a problem. And to the point where Amelie, How do you say your name? Sorry,
Amelie.
Amelie. I'm French, so I tend to say Amelie. To the point where
Yeah.
you were saying like, oh, sorry, I kind of lost my point. You spoke about something earlier around this, and I was like, yeah, that made sense. Anyways, I guess I'll get it later. But yeah, I really believe that it has to do with being authentic from the very beginning with anybody that you will, even someone that you're going on a date with. I mean, it's
Right.
okay. It's okay to start having these conversations and early on and just being real about our lives. And I think that that's what's missing in all relationship is the fact that people can't just be honest with their partner because they can't even be honest with themselves most of the
Right.
time. So it's difficult to have that trust within someone else when you don't even have that trust within you, because
Right.
someone can be in a friendship, let's say, with someone that they've been in a friendship for a long time and be very confused as to like, what is this dynamic? Because they might
Right.
be having feelings, but the other one might not having feelings. People are not communicating. We don't communicate well in a love relationship. We also don't communicate well in friendships a lot of the time. So again, there's this all miscommunication going on. So that's why there's so much insecurity everywhere, because people are just confused about the dynamics that they have with each other. So it's about getting to know yourself and finding a partner that also is getting to know themselves well, so that
Right.
these things don't happen. So let's say I'm a person that look at myself every single day, and I do the work, and I know myself, and I get to know myself. I'm always evolving. If I get together with a guy that doesn't do any work on himself, like, ever, and he's full of insecurities, and he's full of jealousy, and he's full of all these kind of things that you find in on the surface of things from people, obviously it's going to be difficult to even connect to that person, right? So you attract who you attract. So if there is jealousy going on, and if there's people that are coming together, and there's like already a trust issue, you have to look at why this is happening. It's not just because of the situation itself. It has to have something that is deeper here. So yeah, I think that it's always about looking at ourselves and then understanding, okay, is this something about me, or is this legit something that I need to put a boundary because I want to respect myself?
Gotcha. Now I'm gonna pass it to you in a minute, Amelie. I just want to ask Ellie one more question, right? So, let's say, like, again, you have a opposite sex best friend, and your partner says you have to choose him or me. What is your response?
Obviously, I would not choose that person that asked me that question, because they're right there is because they're not trusting me, and I'm not going to be with a partner that doesn't trust me. I don't want to have to convince someone of my trust and who I am and what I say, like, ever. So that
That's
partner
deep.
has to be secure with himself and not ask me to give them that assurance and security. It has to come easily. Like, yeah, these are red flags for me, for sure.
Got you. And that's so. In other words, that's a deal breaker. The moment that question is asked, it's over with.
Well, it's not over with. I think there can be a discussion, but like, obviously, no, I'm going to be a little bit like, it is going to be a red flag for me, because if I
Right.
know that I'm being authentic and I'm being me from the very beginning, and that person still is questioning me and then asks me to choose
Right.
based on the things that I told this person, then there's obviously something not right for me anyways.
I got you. Okay, Amelie. So you have a best friend, right? Like you just said, you've been single for years now, right? So
Yeah.
you have a male best friend, and then let's say you finally you meet somebody, a guy, and you're into him, he's into you, um, and he has these insecurities, and he says, I'm gonna let you have to choose me or him, because I can't be with a woman that have or claims they have a opposite sex best friend. Which way do you go? And what do you say to the man that you just met?
Well, first and foremost, as we're talking about this, I'm thinking, okay, who are my best friends? And I don't have any male best friends. Even in my singledom, I have zero male best friends that I could say, oh, yeah, that's my ride or die. We've known each other for X number of years, and I can count on them. I have ex-boyfriends that are that way, that I am so connected with them still, even though like I would
Interesting.
never get back together with them. But I'm just gonna preface that. So, but to go with what Chef was saying, um, there is a certain higher echelon of intimacy when you start to get into the sexual relationship and then even into the marital relationship. So we're just talking basic boyfriend, girlfriend, we're meeting and kind of getting to know each other before like making it even more serious, I'm assuming. And so I do support what Ellie is saying in that if somebody gives you some sort of ultimatum without opening the floor for discussion and communication, right there is a red flag to me. But you know, there is, I'm, I'm a negotiator, so I'll sit there and negotiate until like something sounds right. But then also, like, I have this really soft, open heart that a lot of people do come to me, and it wouldn't even be a best friend. It could just be people that I am acquainted with that could cause some sort of insecurity. Like you've got a lot of men in your DMs. Your work causes you to work with men on an intimate level. And that causes me to feel a little insecure. Like, are you developing relationships with these people? I don't know. And so it really does come down to having really solid communication. And Ellie, I don't know if you can like list your best friends. Like I have 3 that I can count of women only that I've known for 10 plus years. One of them almost 30. And those are my best friends. Those are people that I know I can call on at any time and say this situation is going on. But yeah, once it starts getting into a little bit more, I mean, with my best friends, I'm not telling them like, oh, you know, you have a key, you have access to this, you have access to that. So my best friend relationships might look different than somebody else's best friend relationships. So my best friend relationships are, I'm calling them, and I each one of my best friends, I talk to them about certain things. So it's still yet a little bit compartmentalized. Like some of them I can share everything, and some of them I'm just like, okay, I know that I can go this far with you before you're like, oh my gosh, okay, let's, I love you, but I also have my own life and I can't handle like a lot of that stuff because I'm a
Right.
deep person. So do I think it's possible to have a male best friend? Probably a gay one. That would be a get out of jail free card. That would be a little probably more lenient, but me being hetero myself, having another male best friend, I mean, it depends on like what you're sharing with them and how they're integrated into your life. And like I said, I don't have any men that I can call my male best friends, but
Gotcha.
I do connect deeply. I have a lot of male acquaintances, a lot of them. Most of the
Okay.
people I know are men.
T, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hold on. No, no, that was my call. She was calling me. No, look, I do want to say because I'm getting ready to get out of here because my show getting ready to start at 6:30. But look, I do want to say this, and this may be factual. I'm not really certain about this, but I can tell you this, ladies. If you have a male best friend, right, and he finds you attractive, the moment, and I'm so serious, the moment you are weak, the moment you open up your legs, I guarantee you that man will probably sleep with you. I guarantee you that. I, it's the vulnerability because that's the I want to say the tough part is that if that man finds you attractive and he says he's your best friend, know this: if you gave him an opportunity to sleep with you and you're not drunk, he probably will sleep with you. I'm not certain, but most likely he would. Because guess what?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, D.
No, I was about to say, I know you about to get out of here, but like,
Yeah, I'm gonna
that's the
come
thing.
back.
It's the same thing for females, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's tricky, right? You can't just say males, right? Don't beat us guys, though. You
Well,
know what I'm saying? Because women,
it's both.
they
I,
have
See,
perfected this.
women can be very manipulative too.
no, but I'm talking about. That's what I said. But it was a man not gonna say I have a female best friend. That's women do that. They say, "Well, I got a male best friend." Men don't really say that because guess what? The moment I'm in a relationship and I tell another female that I have female best friends, they're gonna wonder. And then especially when they see him and they attractive, they like, oh,
Wait,
okay, come on, you
wait,
got to be real.
wait,
You got to be
wait,
real.
wait,
What?
wait. This is the thing. This is the thing. Whoa. You just said you in a relationship, you're not going to say that. Those are the boundaries. Those are the things you're supposed to set forth in the beginning of a relationship. So you start to talk to somebody else. You say, listen, just so you know, I do have opposite sex best friends. You got to establish that from the beginning.
But
And
you don't tell them that.
hold,
You
hold,
don't just you in a relationship with somebody.
but
You
why
don't
not?
just say because that
But
it's levels to that relationship. It's certain
right,
information you don't just put out there like that. You ain't gonna just say, "Oh, I got male best friends and I got female best friends." You're not gonna do that because guess what?
but
That relationship they may never get an opportunity to even meet your best friend because you getting to know that person first. So now as the time go on, then you might have to say, yeah, I do this is my best friend because guess what? You're introducing them to your significant other at that particular time because that information that's private, that's personal. So you don't have to get that personal in the beginning of that relationship because they're like
it's
somebody's
called
not gonna meet your
lying, though.
family.
That's called lying. That's deception, in my opinion. Because if you're in a relationship, you have this friend. Now, the longer that relationship continues, and then you all of a sudden you say, "Hello, bam, here we go.
Oh,
I got a
And,
female best
and
friend or opposite sex."
it,
They're gonna get mad. They're gonna be
I'll
like,
be
"We
back.
didn't establish this." Okay,
I'll be back.
all
we
right.
can continue that conversation, but at the level again, like when are you deciding that you're in a relationship with that person? Again, it's all
Right.
definitions, you know.
Right.
It
It's
doesn't really matter because you're dating someone and you're going to be sharing information with that person that you want to share from the beginning because and it's up to you to say like, am I ready to share that information? How many
right.
dates have you been on with this person? Like 2? Maybe you don't
Right.
want to talk about your best friend yet because you don't know that person and you're
Mhm.
okay with that, and that's not necessarily lying because you're not involved with the person. You've just been on 2 dates, you know, in that sense. But I mean, if there is nothing that is wrong, if you as a person that you are, as a secure person that you are, do not feel like you're hiding anything from anyone anywhere in the world, whether it's meeting someone as a romantic relationship or anyone else for that matter. I mean, you're not going to lie because there's nothing to lie about. And if that other
Right.
person reacts from the very beginning when they meet you, is because they have something that they're not comfortable with, right? So to me, it's just like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I just feel like it really does not matter. The thing that matters the most is, how are you in a relationship with yourself? Are you
Mm.
having a really great relationship with yourself before you even consider going into a relationship with someone else? Because
Right.
if you're not in a, like what Amelie was saying, like she's been single for 5 years, I've been single for 7 years too. Like we choose to stay single until we are ready to open up our hearts to someone that is going to be our equal, that is going to be able to be as secure as we are and be in the same energy and the same frequency. Because if not, we're well anyway. I don't know for you, Amelie, but I feel very well on my own if I'm not matched with someone who I can call my equal. I don't have to even have a discussion about this, to be really honest with you. I don't have a
Right.
male best friend, by the way. I was just saying that in the past I did
Right.
have some male best friend, and I used to hang out with a lot more men because I was just getting along with a lot more men. But to be honest with you, today I have like two good friends, and one of them is a guy and the other one is a woman, and one is like 30 years older than me, the woman, and the other guy is a really great guy, you know. But yeah, and again, I'm not at a stage where I'm dating all that much, so I'm not really contemplating this question. But I mean, it's really, it gets almost childish to have to even consider these, these things, because to me, they're so surface things. When you are really
Right.
well with who you are and you meet someone else who's really well with who they are, these questions don't come up. Like, I mean, it's just the flow of life. It's just your life. You have a past, they have a past. You guys are, are connecting. There's a reason why you're wanting to get to know someone. It's because you're feeling ready to get to know someone. If there's someone that's lurking in the background and you have emotions for, I mean, then that means that you're not ready to meet anybody, and you shouldn't even be on a date with someone from the get-go. So
Right. Yeah, well said. I like the way you put that. Like, because oftentimes we continue to look for the same people, right? The same people that we get in a relationship with, and it don't work out. And then it don't work out. We go and track to the same people, and it don't work out. So we fall into this vicious cycle. So I like the way you put that. But it looked like you wanted to add something, Amelie.
Oh no, I'm in total agreement. I mean, this whole conversation starts with how good of a relationship you have with yourself, how much you trust yourself, have you dealt with your insecurities, how do you deal with your trauma, are you continuously working, are you progressing towards being a better human, and like I was saying before, sometimes you get stuck in these feedback loops where you have trauma-based relationships and you're not going to feel secure in them. Either the woman is chasing or she's anxiously attached. That's because she hasn't done the shadow work that's required for her to be her whole person. And, ideally, a man is going to see that, and if he's not working on himself, he's like, well, that's the best I can do. I'm going for it. And those relationships usually end poorly.
yeah.
And then you kind of find yourself single again and you're like, okay, I'm going to go find somebody else to replace that. I'm rebounding. And then you rebound into the same thing. And it's just the energy of yourself. So at the end of it all, and why what I teach in my programs is that we are the author of our lives. So whatever energy we have, we're gathering that in. Now, is that going to be having a male best friend? I mean, I've had really close relationships with men, but like you said, and I think like Chef was saying, like there is a chance that there's a spark that could happen. So,
Right.
once that spark does happen though, you have to be open about that communication. Like when that
Mhm.
happened and I was in a relationship, I was like, I can no longer be bonded to you. And I didn't even go into a relationship with the guy. It just like it plummeted. I don't even want to call it plummeting because I felt like I went into the cosmos. I was in the
Right.
cosmos because of just the emotional reaction that I had with this man who I would call pretty intimately close without having sex with them. I was very intimately close with this person, and we never had a relationship. But man, if we did, it would be awesome. But it just never worked out. And,
Right.
from that, I decided to remain single. I was like, there's obviously something in my system that is attracting this trauma based relationship that I need to work on. And so, like Ellie was saying, once you're conscious of it and you're spiritually awakened to the fact that your soul your body needs to catch up with wherever your soul is, because your soul's
Right.
like, we're elevating, and then your body has to catch up with it. And I did a whole thing on it today of feeling out of focus, which is like kind of having all these woundings and which would translate into insecurities, but we're all really working on progressing ourselves. So
Mhm.
I can see where Chef's coming from and I can see where Ellie's coming from, but in all reality, like if I was going to say who's my best friend, they're mostly women. And I have a male roommate. So and we've never been intimate. And we set a boundary at the very get go, like, we're not interested in each other. And we, we obviously live in the same space. Some people would
Right.
have a problem with that. I don't, because I consciously choose not to.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
What about him?
Oh, we both
Who-
set this. We both set the boundary early on.
But you're friends.
Yeah, we're friends. Best friends? No. Friends? Yes.
Acquaintances, more like.
No, I wouldn't say acquaintance. I'd say a little bit above an acquaintance, but definitely it's. I wouldn't say best friend, but we're friends.
He's never shown any interest or whatever, anything like that, right?
No,
All right.
there's
Yes.
definitely no attraction there. I would not.
So DW,
Yo,
since you just joining, is it okay to have an opposite sex best friend while in a relationship?
sure, you can be friends with anyone you want. It's just how extensive that friendship would be. If it was inappropriate, then you have to consider your significant other's feelings towards that. If they wind up saying, "Oh well, I don't want you being friends with that person," I'm like, "All right, well, I was kind of friends with that person before I knew you, so I don't know." That might be a discussion. But if it's a just random person who's just like just started being friends with, and they're like, "Well, I don't get a good vibe from that person. I don't want you to be friends with them." Well, then of course you have the back and forth of, "Well, do you trust me?" And then they're like, "No, I don't trust them." I'm like, "But if you don't trust them, that means you don't trust me as well. Because you have to trust me to be able to say no if that person said something or made an advance or something like that. You have to trust me to be able to say, no, I have a girlfriend. This is not going to happen." And then you'd have to trust me to say, well, this is over because you've made it weird. You crossed that line. But many women don't see it that way. They see it as, well, it's putting our relationship at risk. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, that means you don't trust me. That means there's already trust issues, and it's just going to devolve from there.
So it's safe to say that you would not give up your opposite sex best friend for a relationship. Is that what you're getting at?
Not if I don't feel it's inappropriate. I mean, I don't think having an opposite sex best friend. I also don't believe that you can really have a best friend who's opposite sex unless you actually grew up with that person. As an adult, it's a little more difficult because there's always somebody who catches feelings.
Yeah.
Always, whether it's covert or whatever, somebody catches feelings one way or another. And then of course the other person is so scared of the other person doesn't catch those feelings, and they're like, well, I just see you as a friend. So, and then it'll depend on how much feelings the other person has for the other person. Are they willing to just fake being a friend so they could just be around, and maybe one day they'll be weak enough to be able to be like, hey, yeah, you know what, I'll give you a chance? Or do you just be like, all right, well, I mean, I kind of caught feelings. I went through that threshold of we're no longer friends. I saw you as a partner. You don't see me that way. Okay, well, then I don't know if I'll be able to go backward. A lot of times people can't go backward. So then it should be cut off right then and there because it's never going to go away. People's feelings can fade, but many times they don't disappear, especially if that person's constantly around. You'll always have that hurt, that heartbreak, that feeling of maybe one day, maybe it might happen. But it rarely happens when you're childhood friends and you grow into it because you just have that, they're more like a brother or they're more like a sister type deal. And you just kind of get a repulsion, not like they're ugly and gross, but like that's like my sister. That's like my brother. I don't even have those kinds of thoughts towards them,
Right.
So it's,
So I know Ellie's on a little time crunch. So I just want to say this real quick. Like, so thinking about me in my life growing up, right? Like, this is the thing. I've had several opposite sex best friends throughout the course of my life. And anytime I got into a relationship, out of respect, I like abandoned that friendship. But the thing that sucks is this: when those relationships didn't work, and I try to go back to those friends, they no longer wanted nothing to do with me. And that's the thing that's hard. It's a lot of good female friends that I may or may not have sex with that I wish I still had in my life.
But
Right?
that's because you
Let's
dump them so easily. You dump them so easily for one person. So why would they want to stay with you?
Exactly. I mean, and that's part of the reason why I came up with this question, because it's a slippery slope, right? Now, as I ask this question, right, I get back to what I was just saying, but as I ask this question, this is the thing: would I be okay with my significant other having a male best friend? The question is absolutely not, right? And like Amelie and Ellie was saying, like, once you one with yourself, you should be able to be okay with that, right?
Mhm.
And I know these things, and I always knew these things, but hey, listen, a lot of men don't keep it real, right? But hey, I got jealousy issues. At the moment I see that you smiling at them a little bit more than you've been smiling at me as of late, it's an issue for me. And me being a man, right? Like, I know how men think, right? Like, I know my younger days, I know I was out in them streets. So, just thinking like that, I'm like, just
But you
because
know how you would think. I didn't think like that.
I
I
didn't say
wasn't
you, I'm
running
just
around. You said you know how men think. I'm a man. I didn't think like that.
well, I'm talking about in general, a lot of men.
Well,
You know what I'm saying? A lot of men.
these days, a lot of men are more scared. A lot of men are just staying out of it because they've been burned. They tried to be okay, well, I'm going to step forward and I'm going to, say something to this girl. And then you know what happens now? All of a sudden, there's a phone in their face, and they're like, "Why are you such a creeper? Get the fuck out of here!" And then post and blast guys all over there, and then shame them and everything, all because the guy was trying to start something, be affectionate or be nice or try to do some sort of a relationship. But no, the whole trope of the guy should do this huge show of appreciation or love. Well, that only works if the guy's hot. That's it. If the guy's gross, now they're a creep. But if the guy's hot, oh yeah, I want him. Yeah, no.
Danny, you are
I've
something different.
I've been victim of it. So it's not fun. Super not fun.
Yeah, but yeah, this whole question is crazy. Like I said, I was being honest as far as how I feel about it. I wouldn't be okay with it, and not to have double standards, because you shouldn't be in a relationship with double standards. But hey, it's been several times that in a relationship I didn't want to let go of my female friends just because of the past, and I know how it is, right? If the relationship don't work, you can't go back to them friends because they don't want nothing to do with you, So it's definitely tough, right?
So what's wrong with incorporating them? Incorporate
mean,
them.
We mean like
they're your friend. Well? Yeah, introduce them. They become friends for both y'all.
Now, I'm glad you mentioned it. I don't like that either, right? And a lot of women that I've been with, they say, "Oh, because you got something to hide." But let me tell you something. For me, it changes the whole dynamics, because females when they get together now, it's girl power, right? And it changes the dynamics of your friendship. So you and that opposite sex friend, right? In my case, the female, we was like this. It was close. They met my significant other. Now we grew apart, and they became more that person's my significant other's friend than mine. When I call them, I'm busy. Or how about when I'm like, I need somebody to talk to. Oh, I'm on the phone with your girlfriend. What?
Sometimes that happens.
For me, I don't like
that friend like, isn't yours forever. You don't own that friend.
Me, I try to put ownership, but it's like, I'm saying, if you was like this for like years, and then all of a sudden you grow distant because you introduced with your girlfriend.
You know what you just did? You learned something. You learned something. You learned that person was going to do it to you regardless.
No, I don't know about that.
It's already hard, to be honest with you. Best friend, friends, even boyfriend. It's already hard to have strong relationships today, just because of the different dynamics and all of that, and then the fact, like I was talking to you about before, like people they just don't know who they are themselves, and so it's hard to be in a dynamic with anyone when you're full of insecurities and you haven't done any work and you're trying to figure out your own life. I mean, nothing will be sustainable if you're not sustainable with your boundaries and the way that you love yourself and what you've healed and what you still need to heal and the authenticity that you have. So I think for me, I have to go, but I would say basically just be authentic. Be the most authentic that you can with yourself, and then with every relationship that you go into. And if there's something that feels off, look at why it feels off to you. But if it clearly is, you're seeing kind of like a clash between the other person because they're feeling insecurity on their part because it's something that they haven't gone through. I mean, it's a discussion that you can have, but again, like, you choose to be around the people that you feel comfortable with from the level of also healing that you've done. And you see that really fast right away in a relationship. So I will never be opposed to have another male friend. I would never say that they will become my best male friend, because like like other, I think you were talking about too, is like there's feelings that get developed on one side or the other a lot of the time, and it can also happen that no feelings at all develop too. But chances are, because we're now adults and we have more I don't know, we're already becoming a little bit more for my part, I'm introverted more than I used to, so I really like my solitude. I like to be at home a little bit more. I don't want to have like a million friends.
Right.
It's difficult for me to even have close friends today. So and it's not because I don't love people. It's just because, again, it's a matter of dynamics, and just like it's hard to even have a really, like, I have one really great best friend, and I can say she's my closest friend. But like developing new friendship, like everybody is so busy, and depending on what you do for a living and everything, people have kids, and there's so much distraction out there. So to say that I will ever have another best male friend is probably, like Amelie was saying, I don't think that it will happen.
Right.
It's not something I can predict, but I mean, yeah, it's not an issue at this point for me, where if I would get into a relationship that it would bother me to even talk about this, because I think it's a conversation you have to have, and just see where the other person is at, and no drama.
The future is unwritten. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow you'll meet a person and you'll be like, oh, you're like the best person ever. And then forever you're all sitting on a rocking chair, 80 something years old, and you're just talking to each other with no teeth. Whatever.
I got you. Ellie, I know you gotta get up out of here. So I appreciate you. And as always, we stay in touch. And thank you for the book. So it came, but like before, when you asked me if it came, it was already in the house. I didn't know. Someone else got the mail. But again, I appreciate you, and we'll stay in touch.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
It's nice to meet you, Ellie.
Nice to meet you as well.
I have two other people about to hop on in a second. Let me see what this comment says. Some people are afraid to have hard conversations, so they don't say anything they should. That's true. I mean, but let's go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to pop in and say, we're kind of going between best friends, so best male friends or best female friends, versus just having male friends or having female friends. So, there's a different level of intimacy when you have like friends or acquaintances. And, for all that it's worth, I have different levels of relationships. I'm a part of a large community that is mostly men. I'd say 60% men, 40% female. And most of the time I'm hanging out in chat rooms with all men, and I'm the only woman in it. So, and I
don't let them know that.
They do know that. I've met most of them in real life.
You could be like a chat room, like it was back in the 90s, a bunch of boys, and they'll be like, ooh, a girl.
No, I mean, the community that I have is a little bit more, I understand what you're saying. It's not just a random chat room, but it's just, I know most of them. I've met them in person. There's no like romantic feelings there. In fact, like I've never had any of that. So there's just this level of respect. Like there's a certain value that community holds. And like some of them I've, shared some really heavy emotional things that I was going through. Not to say that they're my best friend, but it was just in the moment, it was like, this is what I'm going through. It was my mom was dying, and I was sharing it with one of the guys, and he is a married man. And, I was being very emotionally intimate in that moment, but it wasn't like inappropriate. It was just, I'm having this feeling. And then it was almost like, oh, okay, here's some comfort that I can give you with Bible verses or whatever, words of comfort that he was going to give me. I consider that guy like a brother to me from
Right.
another mother, like I know that I can go to him with certain issues. Do I want an intimate relationship with him? No. In fact, I'm dating somebody now, and it's going very, very slowly. I'm not jumping into it. We're just getting to know each other very slowly, which is fine. I'm not in a hurry. I wasn't even looking for it. And so it's just been an interesting thing. And then as soon as that started, I had an ex come in, and he was like, I love you. Let's be together. And I was just like, I no. Like, you didn't choose
Right.
me in the time. Like, no, I
Exes
can't.
are exes for a reason. That's
Yeah.
it. Exes are exes for a reason. And
Yes.
it didn't work last time, so what makes you
Yes.
think it's going to work this time? A lot of people don't change. They're good at covering what they thought was a problem, but a lot of people they don't change so abruptly. It takes long periods of time. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to say this.
Sorry, I
real
didn't mean to
quick.
cut you off, Amelie. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Now I just want to say this right quick, DW. um, now you ain't the only one. A lot of people say exes are exes for a reason, right? You don't think you can reconcile and rebuild and make a second time better than the first time? You don't believe that?
It, within a certain amount of time, no. If it's beyond a certain amount of time, maybe. Because maybe they grew. Maybe they learned some lessons. Maybe they changed. Maybe they saw what they were looking for and they found out, oh, you know what? I had something good. But the person, if they go back to a person, well, the opposite person should be a little weary or leery about it because they're not sure that you changed. You can say you changed 100 times, but I've also heard that from a lot of liars as well. So, I've changed, I swear, I'm not going to do that. And then turn around, they're exactly the same. And then you're already locked in, and then you have to go through that cycle again of, all right, I got to get rid of them. And then you're just prolong it, and it's just abusive. It's terrible. It's no good. But I believe people can change, but it's very rare that they change so
You
abruptly.
also changed too, so you could
People
be
change,
even
yeah.
higher
You may not even
timeline
be
than
the same.
them.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be way more advanced, and then that person who you wanted something with that person a while ago, well, you're no longer that person anymore. You don't want that anymore. So it could be that too. You're right.
I'm also a Scorpio, so one and done. Like, as soon as you're gone, you're gone.
One and done.
I wish I was that kind of Scorpio.
You're a Scorpio too?
I am.
Two Scorpio. What are you, Danny? DW.
Yeah, you already got me now. There you go. All right. So I'm a Gemini.
Gemini. Oh.
Yeah.
Pisces the best.
I'm the good one. I'm the good
Pisces
Gemini,
are
I
the
swear.
so
Half the time.
Danny, play host for me for a minute. I gotta go get my laptop charger. I don't want it to die.
Okay. Well, this is going to be interesting because I have no idea what's going on.
Oh.
So,
Is it Marl? Mari?
Mari?
Yeah, I'm
Mari,
Mari. Sorry,
have
I
you been
was
listening
late.
to the conversation?
I have not. I got the time wrong because I'm
Oh, okay.
Central, and so I was like, "Oh my gosh!" When the time changed from I guess 6 or 5:30 to 6, my brain, I'm like,
fine.
"Oh my gosh!" I thought it was Central.
We're all here. I'm not even part of it.
The question is, can you have a best opposite sex friendship or best friend
Ooh.
while you're in a relationship?
Oh
That's the
my
question.
gosh.
Well,
What a
actually, that's
question.
twofold. It's a best friend or just friend.
Yeah. So this
So,
is
Well,
something
we've
that I've
kind of
been
been going
thinking
back and forth
about.
with it.
yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you
This
think, Mary?
I've been thinking so much about this lately because I own my own marketing firm, and my best friend slash business partner is a guy. And I was thinking about how much trust our partners have in us because I'm always at his house, always like doing marketing stuff. Like he has his studio with like the equipment and everything, like
Is he
all the
married? Does he have a significant other
he
or
is
anything?
married. I'm married
He's
as
married.
well. And
Okay.
so like we all hang out with our families and stuff, but there's my boy has ADHD too. So he'll forget to tell his wife that I'm coming over. And I've gotten after him for it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, no, tell her, you know. But like there I've thought about that, like how amazing it is that our partners are like cool with this and they understand there's no like anything
Are you
else.
friendly with the significant other?
Oh, for sure. I love her. Like, and
Okay.
I feel like that's so important too, because you can't this work husband, work wife stuff, like when you're in a corporate thing, that's like messy. You know, I don't like that. Like if my husband came home and said, "Oh, I got a work wife," I'd be like, "Well, then you can marry her ass." Like for real. Like,
Like,
no,
cause she can come clean your mess on the ground. You
yeah,
know.
for real. Like, so it's nothing like that. It's always like respect. And it just so happens that he's a guy and I'm a girl. And we both do marketing and he's like my right hand man for my business, you know? But there's so much trust and respect within our partners. But we do make sure to like make sure everyone knows each other. And you know, we work in front of our partners too, like we're always just working, so they understand the dynamic. But yeah, I do think like
Do you think it's possible to have minus or subtract the significant other knowing the person? Do you think that's sustainable and that's okay? So like if you were to have a male friend but you know your husband doesn't know about it, or you mention it and you say, well, he's my friend, and then that's it, is do you think that's okay?
I think it depends on the relationship, because
Mm-hmm.
in my relationship it's totally fine because I am besties with everyone and their mama. So if I'm like, hey, I met this guy at the bar or whatever and he's so cool and now he's working for my company, like that happens. And my husband's just like, it's another day married to Madi. But there, he knows I'm obsessed with him and he knows like I'm just like that across the board. So I think if someone is friendly across the board and it's just that's just how they are, like I think, but there has to be that trust and communication because like I said, I'm very out there and my husband, he has a lot of trust, whereas I don't think many guys would have that level of trust with a partner, you know.
Right. Now, obviously, I'm just returning, but I just heard you say that like you can meet somebody at the bar like today, and he's okay with it. I know for me, I'm gonna look at you like what?
I'll be like, what were you doing at a bar? Where was I? Who else
Nah,
were you with?
I think that's a little control, right? Like if my significant other goes to a bar, I'm not gonna question it. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those that's where are you? How long you gonna be? It's been 10 minutes and you ain't text me back, or you've been out an hour. I'm
Well,
not like that.
I'd want to know, because if all of a sudden something happens, I want to know, where am I sending the police? You know, where am I sending the ambulance? You know, what's going on? All right, it's been a couple hours. I need to know if you're okay. All you got to do is text back to be like, I'm good. And that's it. That's all I need. And if you want to go do stuff, fine. But when it starts to get 2, 3, 4 in the morning and you're not
Oh
home,
no.
I'm gonna come after you, and I'm gonna be like, no, come on, something's wrong. What ditch are you in? You know.
Well, my hubby,
But
like we have each other on the tracking app, so he always sees where I'm at. And
oh wow.
like normally when I
I
go to the bar, it's like or bar, coffee shop, anywhere. I just said bar, like just,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
could be a coffee shop or
Location.
wherever I meet somebody. Since I have my own company, I kind of hop around to different places during the day. And so if
Mhm.
I'm somewhere, he comes after and meets whoever. Like that happened yesterday, and we're all besties, and that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, there is a lot of trust, but I
It's
think me
good.
and my husband are on the more extreme side of like how he trusts me and how we like function within our relationship, because I could really do like pretty much anything like within our relationship, like obviously not cheat on him, but there's so much trust that like we know the intentions, as long as like the intentions, it's just
You're pretty much in the most open relationship minus adding another person.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm not attracted to anyone. Like
Yeah,
only
yeah.
my
But
husband.
you two are in the most open relationship of, trust and go do your thing, go have fun. Same thing, reciprocal and everything.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's great. How long have you been together?
We've been together since 2018 and married since 21.
Great, wonderful.
Now, before I go to another question, I just want to say this. Not to take nothing from neither one of y'all, right? But like I want it's a pet peeve of mine when somebody says, because now I'm in a relationship, I don't find nobody else attractive. That is, to me, that is absurd.
No, I struggle with attraction like in general. So it's like a thing with me where I'm just like I'm barely like it's rough for me.
I
It's
just
hard
don't
for me
I
to
just don't
get.
ever believe people are attracted to me, so I just write it always off. I just never assume anybody's ever attracted to me. And it makes it easier. It makes it so much easier.
Or something different, man. But I was just saying, oh, you got me tearing up. All right, so I'm just saying in general. I hear that a lot. A lot of people that's in relationships say, "Oh, that's the only person for me. I don't find nobody else attractive," and I'm like, bullshit. Because this is the thing.
Celebrity
Before
crush,
before you met your husband, and I know you say you struggle with like attraction, but like it was more than one person you was attracted to or felt that you could be attracted to, right? Like that's like a movie. You like multiple movies. Like people that like paintings, they like multiple paintings. This looks good. That looks good, right? So to say because I bought this one off the wall, I don't like this one no more. It's crazy. Like if
I
the
think
marriage didn't work
there's
out, go ahead.
I think there's a difference between like physical attraction, like seeing something that looks pretty, but then emotional attraction. Like when you don't have that emotional attraction as a woman, when you don't have that, and maybe men feel it as well, but I'm just speaking from my own experience. If there's not an emotional thing there, I'm not gonna be excited about it.
Mhm.
It's not gonna light me up. I'm not gonna want to do anything. It's gonna be probably lame.
See,
And
look, your wife is coming in.
Huh?
yeah.
What'd you say?
I
Well,
said your wife is coming in.
So
I am
I
not
think that
married.
there's a doubt.
Oh.
He's not married. That's all right. So I think there's a major. It's a societal miscommunication with everybody. Everybody seems to be confusing. I'm in lust with someone or I'm in love with somebody.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Most people confuse I'm in lust with someone, and in lust with somebody means they're really hot. I love being with them. It's attractive and wonderful. That lust dies. Lust dies out after a year, after whatever. I'm in love with somebody, that grows. It's love doesn't start powerful. Lust starts powerful. So once you have that immediate, I'm in lust with someone, well, that's a red flag. That's a problem. You got to slow that down real quick. Love grows. So
And that's
Well,
why I was saying, like, some people
yeah.
have hearts
Mhm.
where they're just going to jump in. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling attracted to them, and it could be lust. I'm feeling an immediate attraction to them, so I'm going to lock it in right now because I want to have the dopamine rush of whatever the situation is. Now, when you're building an emotional relationship with somebody, it does take time. Like it takes a lot of time for you to meet out, is this person safe? Is it secure? Is it stable? Can I trust them? Do I love them? And that's why I said, like, as I'm dating, taking it very slow because it's like an emotional build. I don't want something that's going to be, I see them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going for it. And then, you know, and then you're in a relationship with them and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know who this person is. And now I'm like locked in with something I'm unhappy with versus like that slow getting to know somebody, like taking your time and having a little bit more conscious thought into the relationship. Um,
Right.
and then, you know, this is all based on like, can you invite somebody else into that? Um, you know, there are situations, but it just comes down to like what the relationship is. And I think a lot of us forget that there are emotionally attached style people instead of somebody going out and just finding something that they like and grabbing it.
Right.
Yeah, but I think what Desmond was one of saying to that to Mari that people don't become invisible just because you're married. You could still find people attractive. You could still see people. You could still double take and be like, that man is hot or that girl's smoking. You could still have those opinions and have those looks and everything. Now, being married, you're going to have that emotional growth of, okay, well, I found that person hot, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go after it. Doesn't mean I'm going to act on it or anything like that. But you could still find people attractive regardless. You may even be able to tell your man. You should be like, if as a woman, you could be like, that chick is hot. And then be like, hey, husband, look. And then they're like, nice. And then that's it. They move on.
I ain't doing that.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, I can't do that because my significant other can pass me a phone or point somebody. I'm like, God, dang! I'm like, what you just say? Like, nah, I can't take that.
Oh, that's jealousy. That's jealousy.
Yeah.
That's
I already said I exhibit jealousy. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but
You know
that's
what I'm
okay. Hey, listen, everybody gets there on their own. Some people, they're, and I'm not saying it's possessive is a bad thing, but some people want their thing to be their thing. It's their toy, it's their thing. They want that, and they don't really want to share. They don't want to, think that this person is looking at anybody else in the same way that you want them to look at you.
Right.
And everyone has their feeling, but some people are a little more comfortable with being like, you know what? I know they're into me, so why would I be possessive? Why would I be like, nope, you can't look at no one else. Nope, don't do it. No. That's a quick way to lose someone.
I wasn't saying verbalize it to anybody. I'm just saying it's principle for me. I don't want you to tell me somebody else looks good. I mean, I've been in relationships where.
But do you think that person's going to go after that person just because they say they look good?
I mean, the potential's there, but it's not even just that. It's just the principle. Like I've been in relationships where my significant other, we watch a movie and they just be like, "Oh my God!" No, but put it this way: I've been in relationships where my significant other wanted to have sex because they seen somebody they found attractive, and I'm like, "That's a red flag, and that's a no-go."
No, you should have been like, "Let's do this."
We should still find other people attractive, but then when your significant other finds someone attractive, then it's a problem.
On top of this. You on top of that, I mean, come on, what's really the problem with having somebody start the engine and you take the ride? Come on, what's the problem with that? And then on top of that, if a woman's going to say they're all two different types of attraction, there's the unattainable attraction and there's the what people get more scared of is the actual attainable attraction. The person down the street who says they're hot, or the person on TV who says they're hot. Well, the person on TV, you're not really going to get them, but they can still say they're hot. But maybe the guy in the grocery store, all right, maybe you'd be a little wary about that, a little bit, but you have to trust your partner that they can say it, but they're not going to do it.
You're right. And listen, I'm not a fool. I understand that attraction is attraction, right? That's how I look at it. Attraction is, and I know whatever woman I'm with is not looking at me as the only attractive person in the world. What I'm saying is, I don't want you to verbalize it to me. I don't want you to be like, this guy, oh my God, you see the arms, you see his abs, because now I'm gonna look at you crazy. Like, why would you tell me that? Like, keep those thoughts to yourself.
Or react to that in a different way.
Yeah, if she said like the way that I said, like, I'm just not attracted to anyone, that's when you said, oh, that doesn't make sense. You can still be attracted to people. So it doesn't just turn off. But so if you asked her or like it came up in conversation, would you want her to lie and say, I'm not? And then you'd be like, oh, that's ridiculous. Or like, I am. Because I'm like.
No.
Then it goes to an ego situation.
Hold on. Listen. I want her to tell the truth. And I'm not saying
you want them to tell you the truth, but can you handle the truth?
Listen, I want them to tell the truth. Can I handle it? I mean, for the most part, yeah. I mean, it's gonna be feelings there, it's gonna be thoughts there, it's gonna be jealousy there, but listen, again, I never said you could turn it off. I understand there's gonna be attraction there. I just don't want her to tell me about it. Unless I ask you a question and it comes up in conversation, I don't want you to, in general conversation, like, this person's hot or this person looks good or, damn, did you see the body on him? That's what I'm not going to stand for.
So you should be secure enough to know that you're a hot motherfucker and that you're no problem. You should be fine with it. You should be like, all right, yeah, that person also is attractive, but you're with me. You're with me. They already made that choice. They're already with you, so they won. You won. That's it. What? It doesn't matter. I can window shop. I can look, but if I touch, that's where it crosses. That's a problem.
You're right. I mean, Amelie, you want to add to that? Because this is crazy.
I know you guys are. I was like, oh, you guys are on a huge thing there. But
add to it. Come on.
if I'm in a relationship, I'm not sitting there looking at people and saying, oh yeah, that person's hot, or look at their abs or whatever. I like, for me, and I don't know if it's just because of my makeup or if I'm like my personality is or whatever. Like, for me, when I'm in a relationship and I'm attracted to somebody, like, I chose that person. Like, they match me on a deeper level than just this physical attraction. Like, our souls are intertwined. And so it goes beyond this 3D realm. If I'm with somebody, if I'm choosing somebody, I'm not going to sit there and window shop and say, oh yeah, that. Oh, I can like upgrade.
Nobody said you have to actively do it, but passively, if you see someone, are you going to be like, they're kind of hot?
I do it right now as a single woman. I do it and I'm like, oh, they're cute, but I don't know if I would want to be around that all the time. Like, I wouldn't want to be around a guy that's like super hot, 100% attractive. Like, I want him to just, the attraction comes from, is he going to match my soul?
Right.
And I can't just look at somebody and say, oh, their outside looks really good, but then like you get to the inside and it's shit. It's not matching me. Not that they're shit or anything, but it's not matching my energy. I want to drive. I want to pull people in. It's not my shit. Like, I want the shit, like, for me. And
exactly.
I think we, because of the society that we're in and how over sexualized it is, and we're kind of looking at everything from this sexual point of view. Like, sex is such a small portion of an actual relationship. Like, it really should just take like 5 minutes, not all the time.
But sex means different things to different people. For men, sex means something different than for women.
And I'm not taking away from that. I'm not taking away from that. But it is such a small portion, but we're fed it because it's like everybody desires that connection. They want to be intimate. They want to be close. But there's so much more. There's emotional and mental and spiritual connection that also goes into a relationship. So when I look out, I might look at them and say, okay, they're cute. And then I talk to them. I'm like, no, I couldn't even be around that person because I have to have a really strong, deep intellectual conversations. I am also like chaotically an emotional mermaid over here, like going all over the place. Who's going to be able to handle how much I am and how big I am? Not everybody is going to be able to handle that. So I'm going to be a little bit more choosy about who's going to be in my field, who is going to be sharing that energy.
And Danny, I was going to tell you to speak for yourself, man. You said men look at sex differently. I mean, I don't know where your mind is, but for a long time I tried to be in denial. Right, I try to deny it to myself. But as I get older, I see sex differently. Like when it comes to women or relationships, it ain't all about no sex for me. I need something on a deeper level, right? I need to be able to hold a conversation, like Amelie was saying, right? Like it's because you can get sex from anywheres. So
can you
be attracted to,
Can you?
Hey, you can go on Tinder right now or Grindr.
Sure, I can pay for it too.
Go get you some.
I could totally pay for it. Does it mean the same thing? No, it doesn't mean the same thing from somebody you love. Sure, I can go. I do myself. Whatever, but it's a.
Well, we wasn't talking about love and all that stuff. You said men look at sex differently. I was like,
they do. It's a deeper connection. Men have a deeper connection if it's with somebody that they love. It's a way deeper connection because men crave physical attraction. Women crave emotional and psychological attraction, as Amelie already said. She wants to vibe with somebody. She wants to connect emotionally and whatnot. Men, sure, of course we want it too, but we also express it as a physical connection as well. But then, well, a lot of times when we want it as a physical connection, and women turn around and be like, "That all you think about?" I'm like, "No, it's not, but it's important."
I would say that's a certain women thing, because in all reality,
Hi,
the
Divine.
emotional and mental connection, that's just what's going to get the ugly guy. That's what's going to get the ugly guy in your pants. But in all reality, women also want a physical, they like the physical attraction. So it's just one of those things with knowing the preference of the woman, really. Because some women like ugly men. Some women would prefer an ugly man, so it's just
You mean aesthetically unique men.
ugly, yeah.
Yeah. AKA ugly.
Yeah.
My internet is lagging, so I'm going to reset it really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to say some women like ugly men. I think that when you have these highly attractive women that's dating these goblins, as I like to say, I like to call them these.
I'm offended.
things.
I feel offended. I'm not a goblin.
I've never seen. If you feel like you're a goblin, then do something else. But I feel like they look to those type of men because they like, okay, they're not going to be one of those guys that's going to come at me the wrong way. They're going to come correct, right? They're going to come with respect. Because at the end of the day, they want to be loved, they want respect, they want security. And then these guys that's not egotistic or all about themselves, they're going to provide that woman with much more.
Are you sure? Because I've met a lot of ugly men who have an ego the size of Montana, and they think they're the hottest shit on the planet. And then they're like,
because women want ugly men. Women want ugly men. I'm telling you, they cheat and everything. Like, the audacity of an ugly man is at an all-time high, because he is actually very sought after. Because you think, oh, he's ugly, so he's not gonna. With
so
women,
he should be safe.
Nobody else is gonna want him, so I don't have to worry about him cheating. I look good, and he know he's ugly, so he's gonna treat me, like gold. Like, it's a whole perception thing. When women really dig into it, it kind of boils down to those types of things.
They probably see an ugly man as a man. Okay, well, this guy's ugly, so he's probably not full of himself, so he's probably going to treat me a little better because I'm the prize and whatever. So, but that don't mean shit. The ugly men, pretty men, men are men.
This is insane. This is insane. That's basically what I was just saying. I don't think they saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go find me an ugly man," but I think they try to find a man that's less sought after because they're gonna provide more. Generally speaking, they're gonna provide more. They're gonna care more. You know what I'm saying? I think most of the time, I think that's what it is. If you got a man with a whole bunch of insecurities and they land a prize, right? They gonna feel better about themselves, especially the longer that their relationship goes on. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna give that woman more respect than a man that's highly thinking of themselves or egotistic or think you know what I'm saying, that wear all the jewelry and just go out there, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna provide more love and attention. They're gonna have more attention.
Wait a minute, aren't you? What's around your neck? All that jewelry.
Oh, no, I am one of those guys. I think highly of myself, but I also know how to treat a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's it. So. Amelie, you want to add anything to this? Women like ugly guys. I mean, because we both said it's about attraction for us. So, like, I mean, for me,
I'm gonna say there are probably some women who see the ugly man as the most attainable because they don't have 500 other women coming at them. So it's maybe a little bit easier getting them, and that's a gamble of whether or not they're they're single because they're weird, or they're not really good socially, or something's really wrong with them, and that's why the girls aren't going for them. But there's always, women always want to date upward. I've always seen it. They always are looking for the next step up. They want somebody who's going to take care of them. They also want somebody who's hot, someone who they can look at and be like, you know what? That's mine. That's my man. And then get real jealous if some other girl's going to come around and be like, talking to him. She'd be like, nah, don't talk to my man. That's mine. And then, but you get the top tier men, you get the men who are, you know, pretty men and whatever. Yeah, they're full of themselves because they can get any guy, any girl, of course, because every girl wants them. And are they going to treat a girl with respect? Probably not. They're just the next one. So,
So
go ahead.
just to add to the conversation, like for women, there's not necessarily a hierarchy of women. I mean, there is kind of, but for men, there's definitely this social sexual hierarchy. And I don't know if you've heard of that, but you have your like alpha males, then you have your Bravo male, and then you have your Delta and your Sigma and your Omega and your Lambdas, which are the gay men. But you have.
I ain't heard that one, but that explains it. I'm sorry.
there's
So you're talking
whole
about the Chads, the Simps, and then the, you know, not for us.
Then if you don't let that woman speak.
But so when you're looking at this, like the alpha male is the one that all the men are listening to. It's the man that all the women kind of flock to because he's got the most power and they want to have a part of that. Now that man is going to be the one that's most likely to cheat because he's got all these women coming after him. And so to support what Divine is saying, I don't know if that's Divine Chyna, support what she's saying, like the Delta, so you have the Bravo that supports that alpha. So he's not going to be as much of a cheater. He's supporting his alpha. He's carrying out the orders. He's shouting out like, the alpha wants this to happen. We're going to make it happen. And then you have the Deltas, which are the workers. This is your everyday guy that's showing up to work, that is doing the job, that is making America go, you know, just because we're in America. He's the one that's showing up. He's the one that's very stable, and not necessarily all the women are chasing after him. And, you know, a lot of the women would be like, I want that alpha male. But like for me, I know about the social sexual hierarchy, and I'm not looking at having an alpha male to be around because honestly, I just don't want to deal with the drama of it. I want to have a nice, stable Delta man who's very funny, who's going to make me laugh, who's very intellectual and knows stuff about things that I can have a really decent conversation with, and that is emotionally available and is going to carry me in the times that I need somebody to say, calm the fuck down. Like, really pure and simple. And they don't have to be like an 8 or a 10. Like, they can be a 5 or a 6. And I think that's kind of what Divine Chyna was saying, is women will typically go after that because it's a lot more stable, because that man is going to be dedicated to his woman. Like, he's got his shit together. He's, you know, this is the guy that has the house, has a good job or a good career.
Yeah,
you know,
eventually
has everything. And then you can kind of intertwine into that and be supported in that, and you're building something together. And so for me, when I'm looking at a relationship, I want somebody that's going to build with me. And that's pure and simple. Like, I don't want to be around people that are going to expect me to build everything and then they suck and parasite off of me. I don't like that. And you have a lot of these good looking men that end up being these either energy vampires or resource vampires that kind of pull from the woman, because women right now have a really big upper hand in like attaining things and having a good job and not necessarily needing them. Like Ellie was saying earlier, she's like, I've been alone for 7 years, and you know, if somebody's going to come into my life, it's going to compliment me. I don't want somebody that's coming in that's going to suck off of me, that's going to vampire off of me. And if there's red flags in the beginning, then I'm just going to say that I'm sorry, this is not going to work out, because we live in this society that has kind of inverted the classic, like back in the day, if you had male friends, like back in, you know, like let's say pre-Civil War, if you had male friends and you were in a society, like that did not bode well. You were kicked out if you didn't have a chaperone. And if there wasn't like intention set, like there was a very strict way of protecting certain societies. And nowadays we've blended that and muddied that and blurred the lines, and it's kind of a newer-ish concept for us in our westernized society to be even having this conversation and talking about it. And so, yeah, it depends on the woman, how emotionally resilient and in herself and present she is. And that's the same for the man. I wrote a really great Substack article called 9 Emotional Competencies of the Attractive Man. And it wasn't anything to do with what he looked like. It was how emotionally resilient and how stable is this man that I can be around him. And then it just activates me as a woman. That's what I want anyways. And maybe Divine Chyna agrees with me, but I'll let her have the floor.
So Chyna, my first question real quick before you jump on that. My bad. Before you jump on that. So Amelie was like, oh, she assumed you talk about 5 or 6. Now, when you say women attracted to ugly men, on what grading scale are we talking about? We talk about 5 or 6 or below?
Yeah, 5 and under. 6.
Oh, 5 and under.
Yeah,
see,
5 and under.
5 is average though. If average is ugly, ooh, shit. I feel sorry for a lot of people.
I don't feel. I mean, it only sounds like that because we're putting it as a number. Because at the end of the day, everybody's ugly to somebody. So a number is just making
You're damn right.
You know?
Yeah.
Everybody's ugly to somebody. So that's just what that is. But I feel like it's more so of like exactly what she said. But DW, when she was talking about the Delta and you was like, yeah, eventually. But as a woman, I would rather help my man build brick by brick, and then I get my own front office with a gold toilet seat in that building, you know what I'm saying, than to come in to a man that already got it and he treating me like I'm just some type of peasant, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, because, oh, you weren't here when I got there. Like, you hear that in all of the music and everything nowadays. Like, oh, these women only want me because I got blah, blah, blah. Sir, I can't control the fact that I did not meet you until you was already rich. I don't know what to tell you about that. Like,
but
I'm here trying to have a genuine relationship, and you think I just want your money. But when a woman got money and she is with a man of a lesser stature, 9 times out of 10, he there to suck up that woman money. Or he doing some type of stealing or something of that sort. But I would say 5 and under is like, that's average to us. But
you're an outlier. You are a unique person. Average, from what I've seen and experienced, average people want to have the fun. They want the bad boy. They want the excitement. They want the Chad. They want the 1% man. That's what they want. And then when they chase after that guy, they chase after all those guys constantly all throughout their teens, their 20s, and they get to their 30s. All of the worker men, all the blue collared men, the ones who are working constantly, who would love to have that hot girl and whatever, and treat them good and build a relationship with them. But they're invisible to them because these girls are constantly trying to chase after the super hot dude who has all the money, who's flashing everything, who has the bling, who has everything. So, but then eventually what happens is that they realize, oh, I can't be doing this the rest of my life. I'm getting older. I'm working towards my 30s. I'm almost getting to my 40s, and I'm still chasing after all these idiots who will just use me and lose me. Yeah. Then they eventually start looking downward, and then they're like, oh, you know what? Actually, there was this guy. He's not as attractive, but he's been working. He has a job. He wound up going and getting his own place. He's stable. And nobody wanted to be with him because stable means boring, and they didn't want boring. They didn't want stable. But then eventually when things start looking bad, looks start fading, you start having problems because you've been through all these different guys who treated you like shit. Now you have the emotional baggage of all these guys who were actually treating you like garbage. Now you come to the guy who was stable the whole time, but he was invisible. Now he's got to deal with it. You come over and you're like, I'll give you the chance now. after I've already had all my fun and, I've ignored you this whole time. I'm going to give you that opportunity. But then as soon as that guy starts going through anything, he starts having any type of boundaries or any type of things, all of a sudden, the woman turns around and be like, well, you're not going to control me. You're not going to do this. Don't tell me what to do. Don't be like this. My ex used to be like that and I dropped his ass and blah, blah, blah. And then so guys eventually just learned, don't date. Don't go for anybody for that, because it's just constant. You can never be too nice, because as soon as you're nice, you're labeled as weak. And once you're weak, they don't even want to look at you. And it's a problem. So men just bow out of the dating field and they're like, all right, well, you know what? I'm not even going to try, because we can't win one way or another. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't. So you just, but Amelie, I know what you're saying. Yeah. See, and there you go. Amelie, see, so that's the thing. That's the response that most men would get of who hurt you. But that's the thing. Women hurt men because men want attraction. They want things. But I know, hold on. I know. But men put themselves out there to have that connection, and then they get rejected. They got brutalized with a devastating rejection. Okay, fine. The guy shakes it off, moves on. But then the next girl does it. And then another girl does it. And then you're like, what the hell?
Okay, but here's where I would stop you.
Yeah.
And let's just pause for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're throwing out a lot of claims of women are like this.
Generalized.
It's a very
not hyper-specific.
But you're making a lot of claims. And women equally could probably say men are like this.
True.
They'll just chew you up and spit you out, and that's whatever. And that's right. A culture. It's
men will do it too.
Or women. It's not a male or female thing. That's just a part of our culture right now.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have a responsibility of our own person to, like, this is the only person I can control is me.
Right.
And if I'm trying to control others and bring them into me and have a relationship with me because I want it, versus like I've worked on myself and I've cleaned up my energy and I've worked on these shadow aspects and I'm not a victim and I'm cleaning out the victim consciousness of like other people are doing things to me, and that's why I'm in the sorry state that I'm in. I hear a lot of like this underlying victim consciousness in the way that you're talking about women and your interactions with them, that
I love women.
That's why
they're literally my favorite. I'm just saying.
Hold on. Let me interject there. So I'm gonna put. So she took you where she took you. Understand that is a deep self-aware. She is speaking from a state of deep self-awareness and understanding, and just being understanding of, as a man, why are you attracting these type of people? That's where that was gonna go. You know what I'm saying? When you release that victim mindset, that's where that leads to, why am I attracting these type of women? But to take you back to the logical side of how you're gonna understand this as a man, women are not right for how they make it come across, but a woman is always going to make a man be a man. So as a man, it's just more beneficial of a man to have took that hurt and set boundaries around that hurt and figured out how to communicate that to that woman. So if you say something and she says, oh, like she just said, who hurt you? Okay, and you as a man need to have a boundary around that and understand, yes, I have been hurt, but I have experience in these areas, and it's one of those things where you set boundaries around this and you communicate that to that woman, so that you then teach that woman how to handle your emotions when you show her what your emotions look like. So when you show them to her, you have to teach her how to treat them, because that is a completely different side of you that you don't expose to the world every second of the day. So that's
Right.
more so of why you kind of have, that issue with women, because with women you have to learn how to logically like kind of put them back in their place a little bit, because a woman is wired to make a man be a man. So in the moment that we want you to be vulnerable, yes, but
But
like,
the moment that you are, then you're now dismissed. The moment you're vulnerable, the moment you explain or you have feelings or anything like that, that's where you shift from
so let's do a
one
scenario
thing
and
to
let me
another
kind of
thing.
play back to you. Let me play back to you what I would mean. Logic doesn't work with most women, but the thing that men and women mess up on is generalizing everything to this one person you're dealing with. How you just said that woman said, my ex tried to control me, you're not going to control me. That is that woman identifying to you, in my past, I have been controlled. I see that here in this situation, and we are not going to do this. She
Or
didn't say it exactly like that.
she's saying that you're exactly like my ex, so therefore I'm going to cut you off because you're exactly like him, and then conflates it with everything is the same, so then cuts him off completely.
Man, you sound
But
so
would you?
hurt. It sounds like you're struggling with like a past relationship so much right now.
This
Like, it's
is
just
no,
crazy.
this is just logic.
Y'all listen.
This
So,
is logic.
but would you? Okay, so if this is logic, then logically, why would you want to continue a relationship with a woman who is dismissive to your feelings?
You don't.
Let her get her ass
You
on
don't. You
down the
send her
road.
away. You send her away.
Yeah, let her get
And
her. If she wanna
logically,
cut
and
you off,
that's what a man should do, is that if your woman's gonna be dismissive to any of your feelings, your boundaries or anything, that woman needs to go.
but you have to have the boundaries, and you have to respectfully vocalize those boundaries before you can hold that woman to any standard. And then you also have to be
But then there's a
practicing what
hard
you preach within that standard.
But then there's a hard part of you set that boundary, the woman wants to step over that boundary, and then when you say, oh no, and then there's a repercussion to that boundary, now all of a sudden the woman says, oh, you ain't shit, blah blah blah, you can't, and then starts a fight, starts a thing, and then now you're at fault for setting a boundary. You're the one who's in trouble for setting a boundary.
That woman showing you that she is not the woman that needs to be in that.
That she's being
not
contentious.
The woman that needs to be in, yeah, because women can be very emotionally manipulative to men. I will say,
I know that.
One thing for me, I was raised by a single man, so I am more of an advocate of men. Women got thousands of people ready to speak for them and on how they should be treated.
But nobody ever raises women to teach. Nobody ever raises. It's a conversation. Yes, this is a conversation.
Hold on, talk about that. Hold on, talk about that. Go ahead, Amelie, because I see you was.
I'm setting a boundary.
Hold on. But before you go, what was you about to say? Nobody ever teaches women what?
Nobody ever teaches women how to treat men. Men are always, everybody's always taught how to treat women, but how come no one ever teaches women how to teach men or how to appreciate men? It doesn't happen.
I will say, in my experience, that's something that is the important roles of the father in a woman's life. That's what I will say, because I will say, being raised by a single man, he didn't just say, oh, this is what you got to do to get a man, but throughout life and explaining things to me, he groomed me to an extent.
Yep. Men are simple.
So
we are so simple.
hey, so I'm gonna pass it to Amelie, but I do want to say this, since you just said that women are not taught or trained to how to would you say, how you word it, how to a man, how to
treat men, how to treat men.
I mean, I disagree with that, because like an active father, right, in their kid's life, when they have daughters, listen, they treat them differently than they would a son, right? So that's in the process of grooming that daughter how to treat a man, right? Because
that's showing a woman how to be treated by a man. That's not showing a woman how to respect a man and respect his feelings, meet his needs, desire to meet his needs. That's something that's completely different. You're showing her how to be treated by a man, but you're not showing her.
And then she expects that from every man in the future.
So I think you missed what I was saying. I'm saying, all right, so what I'm saying is how that father is to that daughter, right? That's what I mean. Was that one of your kids?
Yeah.
That's still teaching her how to be treated. That's not teaching her how to treat a man.
Okay. I mean, it's planting. I feel like it's planting the seeds in there. Though. Go ahead, Amelie.
A mother should be teaching the daughter how to treat the man. But the mother's not going to do that because she's more concerned about how she gets treated.
Okay, go ahead, Amelie.
Not you throwing shots at our mamas. Okay, go ahead, Amelie.
Listen.
I'm just gonna say this, DW, you are very much a Gemini.
Yeah, I had to. My bad, Daddy. I had to mute you.
But
Go ahead.
yeah. So I was not raised with a male in my house. I was raised with a single mother. I did not know how to be treated by a man, and I also did not know how to treat men. So it was all things that I had to learn throughout my life. And so from that aspect, I can agree with you. However, the woman is typically, and I'm just speaking from a general based relationship, a woman is typically going to listen to a man. She's going to listen to the things that he says. And if he's, and yeah, you can disagree.
I'm not disagree. There's nuance, but continue. Keep going.
There's nuances with all the things that we're talking about.
Yes.
But I can tell you that anytime that my brothers or somebody gave me advice and I listened to it, like now I'm having to learn that because I did not have that in the home. And
I'm sorry for that.
And that's fine. That's the contract that I agreed to come onto this planet. And you know, I do think that the best thing that I learned from a man was a podcaster, and he was like, you know, the victim consciousness, and then also like increasing this awareness about, like Divine Chyna was talking about, just the awareness that I have in my relationships now. So now I look at how aware am I of myself, how aware am I of others, and what impact is that having. So what level of emotional intimacy can I get to that is appropriate for my relationships, particularly the one with myself, because really, I think before I was interrupted, but we have authority of our lives, and that's where that control and power, we have it within ourselves. So when I say that if you're attracting women that are being disrespectful, that are you know, treating you in a certain way, the one thing that I would suggest, and you don't have to listen to me, I'm just a woman that you met on a podcast, but the one thing I would suggest is, what about me is attracting this type of person? And it doesn't have to be women, it could be men too. Like, what about myself is attracting this kind of person into my life? What is the lesson here? What am I supposed to learn? And it could be boundaries, it could be emotional resilience, it could be communication, it could be your own personal awareness, it could be your personal power. So things like self-confidence, self-worth, and how well do I trust myself? How well do I connect with others? How well do I have interpersonal relationships? Like, these are all things that I teach in my business, and it's to help clean your energy out, because we all have things. We all have something that we're working on and working to improve. But like, I'll notice if I'm bringing in weird people or people that like are just off, I'll start looking at what about my life? Am I authoring this person to come in and show me something? Because we are the author. That's what authority is. It's author. That's the start of it. So we're building the life that we're receiving from, and it starts from within. So that's where I'll go with that. The victim being really conscious of where you fall victim, and I still do it too, so it's not like I'm completely clean of it, but I am aware of it when it does happen, and I'm not sitting here and throwing mud at men and saying men hurt me. And I have a very good argument for it. My dad left me, God did this to me, like I have all these wounds, I'm like so victimized, And so feel sorry for me, feel pity for me. I choose not to. I want to be in my own power. I want to be loving myself. I want to be respecting myself. And that's why I say that. Like, I'm not bringing in people that aren't there to show me something. I'm taking radical responsibility for myself and not putting myself into situations where I'm going to get run over and trodden underfoot of men or women because I choose not to do that. I want to hold myself in a higher esteem as far as my soul is here to learn.
So I have to clear something up first. I feel as though everyone's believing that everything that I've been saying is things that happen to me. These aren't things that happen to me. These are things I've seen, things that I've experienced through other people. A lot of this stuff didn't happen to me. I'm just advocating. I'm just bringing it to light that generalized. I've seen these things happen. Oh, these things aren't happening to me. I understand you were trying to give me advice, and I really do appreciate it. But it wasn't. These aren't examples of me.
You're convincing us of yourself because it sounds
So,
like you was hurt.
No, just because I'm extremely passionate about it doesn't mean that it's me.
And like y'all gotta understand though, like I feel like to an extent though, like the mockery of it, the advice is actually good advice, even if it's not, you know what I'm saying, your situation. That's just still
Right. It was good advice. You're right.
But the mockery of it is exactly what this man is talking about though. So the point is being proven within, you know what I'm saying, within it. Like that's pretty much my standpoint. Like the point of him saying men are vulnerable and it's mocked or brought back, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of the point that he proved.
So it's difficult to be vulnerable because the moment you are, that's a lot of times when you're attacked.
You wasn't here in the beginning, so I just want to ask you the question I asked everybody in the beginning. Is it okay to have opposite sex best friends while in a relationship?
Who you asking that?
You.
Chyna.
No.
Oh.
No.
You said no?
No.
Explain.
Y'all can stay friends and you can become a mutual friend, but in our reality, baby, I'm your best friend. We don't need what you need her for? Because in our reality, the best friend ain't nothing but a friend 9 times out of 10 that couldn't get to where I am. Or just ain't had the guts to let you know she want to be where I am and or he wants to be where I am. Realistically. Like I don't no. Respectfully, no, I'm not saying that this cannot be a mutual friend. I'm not saying never talk to this person again. But any solo things that you guys ever used to do before I came along is no longer allowed. And if she has a problem with it,
it's either us or that's
right
it.
there for you to hit the door. All or nothing,
That's
baby.
right.
We are a package
Get
deal.
them, Chyna. Get them.
We are a package deal.
So you ever had a male best friend before?
I have.
Okay. So say you get in you got in a relationship after that, right? Like after you already established this friendship. So did you stop becoming friends with that best friend because you was in a relationship?
We will always be friends, but we're also adults. So in a real life setting, I'm trying to go off and I'm trying to have a man. I'm trying to have a family. I don't got time for that. He's married. You know what I'm saying? My all of my male best friends or whatever, we're grown now. We got kids, we got families, we got partners. All you gotta do is tell that partner, hey, this is so and so, this is my best friend. So that way, I'm not saying y'all can't talk or y'all can't communicate. Right. I'm not gonna trip if I come in and my fiance on the phone with his female best friend. That's fine. But
that's what I was getting at. But you didn't you just say?
But I know her. I've met her, and anytime they're around each other, I'm there. Now, what was going on before I got in the picture, I'm not worried about it. I can't control. But from the moment that I'm here,
But you're still for it though. So that's what I was getting at. All right, so you're condoning it. You saying it's allowed. It's okay.
It's allowed to be friends. Yeah, best friends do a lot with each other. It's a lot of solo, intimate. A friendship is still a relationship.
Yes.
So there's still a connection, a certain type of connection that's there when you have a best friend. But once you decide to go into a relationship, It's a no. It's a no. That's like emotional cheating.
So okay, let me ask you this. So your husband, your husband's home. You come home from work, and he's ha ha laughing. He's smiling, and he on the phone with a female that he already told you is his best friend. Right? Are you okay with that, or are you not?
I'm fine with it because I'm finna sit down. What y'all talking about?
Yeah.
What's the joke?
Put that shit on speakerphone. Let's all talk.
Yeah, because he eat hell. What's so funny?
Yeah.
But
I like jokes
okay,
too.
You don't think that's
I'm
extreme?
gonna laugh.
If you tell him I'm okay with it, you gonna tell him put it on speakerphone? Like, I mean, I think that's a little far fetched. Don't give him permission. Don't say you're okay with it, and now you want to be like, I'm gonna sit right next
It's
to you. I want
far
to listen to
fetched
everything.
to include your partner in a innocent conversation with a
No,
friend.
I didn't say I didn't say that, but I'm saying he said put it on speakerphone. I think that's a little much. Like, right? Like, why?
Well, that wasn't a
Because you already
specific, but yeah, I mean,
but
like,
like
I like to laugh too. Come on, let's all talk. But if
if
that
it's
don't
And that
happen, then it don't happen.
if this is your best friend, why do you not want to build a relationship with that person?
Hmm.
Why do
I
you
didn't say
not want to
The
build a
more the
relationship
merrier.
with that person's other person? If what I said to you was funny, I want to say it to her to see if she gonna laugh.
That's part of
yeah.
getting to know your partner too, because then you get to know the friend.
Now I think every once in a while, okay, cool, but I don't know. I think I don't know. I think you. It sounds like you wanted it all the time. Like you come home like, oh, what y'all talking about? Like, no, like I should be able to. What about texting? You okay with like the constant texting, or is it a line? They be like, all right, you've been
Constant,
texting
no.
long
Be for
enough.
real. We grown. Be for real. Constant, no. We grown. We are grown. We ain't in school. I'm not here. Ain't no coming to see you in class every day, talking to you every day. We grown. You don't need to talk to that person every day. You don't need to know what's going on in that person's life every single day of their life. What,
But
like,
go ahead,
no, we
go
too
ahead.
Yeah,
grown for that.
there's a
Be
level
for
there's a
real.
level of keeping contact with a best
Yeah.
friend. It shouldn't be nonstop. I mean, it should be a percentage of it. Okay, fine. You want a best friend? Okay, well, you get 10% of that person. The majority of it should be with your partner.
So okay, I'm gonna pose this to everybody. This thing, China, for you first. So you say not every day, but if it's a best friend is a best friend. Or we can even take the word best out, BEST. We can delete that. We can just say friends. If you friends, there's certain things that come with that. That's a constant thing. Otherwise, hold up, if a person you consider a friend is not a constant, that's more of acquaintance or associate, in
No,
my opinion.
no, no. Des, come on now. Be for real. Be for
Tell
real.
him.
At our
Get him.
Kidding
age,
me?
Get him,
Okay.
China.
at our
Get him.
age, and with the
Get him.
responsibilities that we got, I've
Yeah.
been best friends with my best friend since we was 14 years old. I ain't
Mm-hmm.
talked to that girl in 3 days. And I can pick up the phone. She called me last night and I ain't even pick up. I wasn't even doing it. I just didn't pick up. Guess what? When I call her, it's not an issue. Real friends do not have an issue with the time gaps. This is just a part of life. Okay? If I don't talk to my friend in a week, my life is you are not a main character in my life. This is my life. I could be going through anything. I could just not want to play. I could just plain old not want to talk. That like
Okay.
it's just something with being we grown, Dad. This is not high school. This is not
No,
high school.
no, I get it. I'm not saying every single day, but I mean a constant. What I'm saying, a constant. Listen, in my relationship, I like me time. I like personalized decompression, self-reflection time. It's been times in my relationships I don't even want nothing to do with my significant other at that moment. You know what I'm saying? I might go this hour. I just no, just I'll be with you in a minute, or I'll be with you later, and it's okay. So when you talk about the friendship, not every day, hey, the longer you stay in a relationship, man, you don't want to be with that person every second of the day. And the people that say that I want to be underneath them every single of the day, every second of the day, I think that's insane.
But you saying in when you think about Constant, that has constantly been my friend since I was 14 years old, and I ain't talked to her in days. But that's my
Mm.
best friend. I will die right now for that woman. So it's just the fact of it's a different type of constant. You are a constant person in my life, but I do not constantly have to talk to you day in and day out because as
That
adults we
connection
should
is
just be
permanent.
okay with it. Yeah.
Okay, okay. What you gonna
That's
say,
my
Shay?
take.
What you gonna say?
No, my girl Chyna got it because I'm just ready. I'm ready. I got your back, Chyna. I'm here. I'm
You
here.
ready for what? I said
got
what you got at.
No,
I just asked you what you
she's
got there.
saying right. She's saying everything right. I'm
Yeah.
right on board. We on the same shit. So I'm good. We on the same shit right now, bro.
Terrible.
And friends are friends. I mean, I have a best friend growing up and everything. I haven't, he lives in a whole nother state. I haven't talked to him in months, but I could call him tomorrow and it'd be like it never stopped. I don't have to talk to my friends every day constantly. That's excessive. Too much of one person is just too much.
Too much of
And
anything is too much.
I
Go ahead.
want to hear Amelie break down the spiritual side of friendships and
Mhm.
the relationship and the spiritual connection of it, and
That's right.
maybe why or why not it is not okay to have those. I just want to hear your standpoint on it from a spiritual
Oh,
standpoint, because
Me?
we
oh,
Go
hear
ahead. No,
women and
Amina.
I feel like
I'm
she's
She's
like,
gonna
been
break it
quiet,
down.
I like listening. I'm like sitting back, just enjoying the
oh,
but
show.
we like hearing you.
Thank you. Um, so I mean, from a spiritual aspect, I would say that when you have a best friend, and I don't use best friend lightly. Like I said, I have 3 best friends. One of them is from grade school or middle school. So we've been friends for almost 30 years. My other friend was from another school, and we've been friends for over 20 years. And then my other friend that I would consider my best friend, we worked together. We met in the work environment, and we've been friends for over 10 years. So these are really long relationships. From a quantum physics aspect, when you are entangled with somebody, um, it's almost like you have this instant connection. So you can have these gaps in periods of time, but you're still connected. You still almost know like when things are going on about them. Like they'll pop into your head and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I got to call this person for whatever reason, because from a spiritual quantum field, you're entangled in their relationship. And so you can have these gaps, and it's okay to have them because nothing is going to separate you from that friend. Nothing is going to get in the way. Like my friends, I've never had any problems with them whatsoever. We've never fought. We are totally in sync. There's ones that I talk with certain things about, like I said, and because of these like 10-year gaps, basically, like every 10 years, I'm due for a new best friend. So calling that in. But so I have like these really deep personal friendships with people. And, you know, from just in a spiritual aspect, these are just people that I can go to them with really deep emotional things. Now, let's say that this dating situation that I'm in, that person becomes my best friend now, and we're just entangled together, and now we're building a life together. Obviously, you're going to have a lot more intimacy with that person. You're going to see them on a daily basis, and you're not going to want to have those gaps because you guys are building something together. And so there is just a deeper level of intimacy that goes into it. And you know, when we talk about like getting really deeply connected from a spiritual aspect, when you do get married, when you say those vows, and the whole reasoning behind it is you're affirming that you two are becoming one united. So instead of being 2 different people, you're now one person. And this is known as a mystical union. And you can have that with friends, but when you're intimate, like on a deeper level where you're having sexual intimacy, emotional, mental, and that spiritual intimacy, then you're now in this mystical agreement where you're now one body and you operate as one body. And that's how it's seen in the spiritual realms, is you're one body now. You're not 2 people. And so to separate that, that's why it's like wreaks such havoc on everybody, is because you're breaking this entanglement, this where you almost can like if you get into this mystical union that I'm talking about, you can almost read that person's mind. You know what they want. You're so ingrained in them. And that is like one of the deepest connections that we can have in this realm, like in our 3D realm. You're not going to have that with a best friend, even if it's a male friend. If you're not sleeping with them, like that just like bumps it up to this next level of intimacy. So I don't know if that answers your question, Chyna, or if you guys have any other questions. But
So Des, what's your take? What you feel
About what? About the opposite sex best friend thing?
Yeah.
I mean, so before you jumped on, I kind of touched on it a little bit, like this. So I don't want to contradict myself here. It's a slippery slope. Like like
Say what you
I
said.
think that I'm trying. So I think it should be. Hush your mouth, Chef. Hush your mouth. I think it should be allowed or okay. It's just for me personally. It's no one for me. It's just one of those things I couldn't take. Because so in the past I've lost a lot of really good female friends because of relationships, and I try to be the respectful person. And then when that relationship didn't work, I try to go back and pick up where I left off with these friends, and they no longer want nothing to do with me. And when I say like best friends, no. Listen, hold on. I'm glad you said that. Some of them I had sex with, some of them I didn't. So let's talk about the ones. Hold on. No. I said some of them. Let's focus on the ones that I didn't. I never was intimate with, right? And they didn't want nothing to do with me. And it sucked. I sitting back now. I'm like, dang, like everything was there. If I needed an ear, she was there. If I needed a shoulder, she was there. When I was homeless at one point in time, she was there. She did all these, you know what I'm saying? And this was several different people like that during the course of my life. They were always there for me. And it's when you got that kind of respect and that kind of support and love, who wants to lose that? You don't. And I lost that because I chose a relationship over there. So it's hard. I feel like I almost want to say if that friendship was already developed or established before you get into a relationship, I think that from day one you should, whoever you're talking to, like, listen, I just to let you know, I do have a opposite sex best friend. Is that something you can tolerate or not? Right? That's why I feel like when we talk about boundaries, I think that should be a discussion from the rip.
But do you not feel like the women didn't respect your boundaries though? Do you? Because I don't see you being in a relationship, like me knowing you, bro. I'm not gonna stop talking to you just because you got in a relationship and you not talking to me in the moment because it's not respectful to your relationship. Like that's not logical to me as a friend. So I don't feel like those women were really
friends.
You know what I mean? It sound like they butter and they biscuit.
Okay, so listen. Hold on, time out. So, Chef, hold on, hold on. Let me add this to that. So say for a month, 2 months, cool. Say for you in a relationship for 2 years. Now y'all don't talk for 2 years. How long do you expect that friend to be there with no communication?
Forever.
Hold on. The only communication is when your significant other's not around. Now you want to text, and then
but then you're sneaky.
But that's my point. That's my point. And after a while, that friend is not going to want to deal with that. They're going to be like, yo, this is bullshit. Or we was in a good conversation and you stopped because she just walked in the door.
But that makes you a bad friend. You're being a bad friend.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I just gave a scenario. I'm just saying, you said if that woman don't want to be friends because you're in a relationship, right? What I said, at what point do you say enough's enough? I mean, if you don't talk for like 2 years,
if that girl didn't want to be around because you got into a relationship, that means that girl was into you and she wanted to be in the relationship.
That's not what I said. I said that's me.
Just said it.
I mean, that's not what I said. What I said was, I told the friend, we can't be cool because my girl don't like it. Right, and then we still was talking. Oh, I'm okay with you. She's okay.
Why doesn't? But then why wouldn't your girl like it?
Because most women don't like it. Just like I'm a man, I don't like it.
That's incorrect.
It's the exclusion. Yeah. You're excluding her from that relationship.
Yeah, include her in the friendship.
And Denny, listen, Denny. Before Chyna got on, I explained that, and I told you I've been in that situation where I included him. That friend of mine no longer was my friend.
That friend wasn't a friend then. then she was never a friend.
Wait. Hold on.
Chyna,
So why it
what
didn't
I said?
they
Go ahead.
friendship didn't go right? So is that
No,
what it was? Kind of like they didn't vibe.
no. What I was saying earlier was this. So the female friends that we was like this, two peas in the pie.
Uh-huh.
Introduced to my girlfriend because I'm like, hey, let me introduce y'all so you can feel comfortable. What happened was the two girls became best friends. And anytime I want to talk, hold on, I'm talking to your girl. After a while, that's not my friend no more. When it's every day, like we don't talk no more. And then
You can't do that
Why? That's
because
not my
that
friend.
is if that's your friend and that is genuinely your friend.
Then
Why
they're
you
allowed to
having
have their own friends.
Yeah, they're having their own relationship.
That friend just gained a new friend, a new best friend.
No, you missed my point. When that friendship you have with that person is 1%, and then the 99 to your significant other is bullshit.
That means that your
Well, you
significant
said
other
it sound like
became
you
the new
got
best friend.
jealous.
Yeah,
You
that's what
got
it sounds
jealous
like.
because
It
she
sounds.
took your
Yep.
friend.
Yep.
So my point is, look,
Chef,
so my
what?
point
What,
is,
chef?
Look, check this out. So I'm gonna give you an example of what Chyna talking about. All right, so I had a childhood friend. She's a female. When I got married, guess what? My wife met her. But we do not hang out no more because of the things that we did when I was not married. It was a different type of relationship, but we still friends right now. Guess what? She don't call me like that no more. It's the respect thing. It's the respect that she has for my wife. And guess what? Do my wife her name Khadijah, if she called my phone and Khadijah pop up, my wife could pick up the phone and say, "Oh, he not here right now," and it'd be like that because she understands. They both understand the level of friendship. Like when I was down and out, right? Khadijah was there. Esther wasn't there. Now Esther is married, right? We still friends, but guess what? Our level of friendship is different now. I could pick up and call, and she can call me anytime. It's the level of relationship and the friendship is different now. I could never say Khadijah my best friend, and she's still my friend. My wife, my best friend now.
Okay, but I told you earlier we could take the word best out of it, but you're still friends. What I'm saying is, the most I can get is a hi. I can't even get one sentence out of the person that was my friend because she want to spend hours on the phone with a girlfriend. That's not no longer my friend. That's what I was.
And then you just said it. That's exactly what it is. She's no longer your friend. You passed your friend off to your wife.
But you're missing the point, Danny.
Yeah. What is the point?
The
point sounds like you're butthurt.
The point is you're my friend. So it's not an issue with you have building a relationship with the person that I'm in a relationship with. The issue is that Des is saying from a friend standpoint is you're ignoring me. Now you don't want to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that. Yeah, I lost a friend because you started talking to her. Y'all got to talking about me, and now you just genuinely do not want to be my friend anymore. That's what he's saying. Like, if you know what I'm saying,
hurt him.
It hurt him.
Don't agree now. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't agree with you.
Did I say you? That man right there agreed. So I said don't agree now.
Because if you got a friend,
go ahead.
If you got a friend and you lost that friend, they wasn't a friend from the start.
That's not right. True. First of all, y'all clouded.
You know what? Des, tell me. We keep cutting you off. Tell us. What was the point? You were saying you wanted to make a point.
She just broke it down to y'all. I can't help that if y'all narrow minded. I can't help that.
He's saying like that's how he lost the friendship.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I got that, but
become more close with the girlfriend, and now she don't want to talk to you. So it's kind of like y'all really ain't friends no more because her and that girlfriend done got to talking about what's going on in their relationship, and she view you differently as a person, and now she no longer wants to be your friend. But there's what they saying though is if she allowed an outsider to come in and change her point of view of you, knowing that there's good and bad sides of you, because the friend got to be there with you through thick
good
and
and bad.
My friend did some dumb stuff, and I be right there like, well, friend.
that means that she
I
wasn't
mean-
really a friend in the first place. If she was able to be
No,
She had
swayed.
a hidden agenda, and she didn't like what was going on.
No.
And
Because
she
if
said,
she
"You know what?
opened up her home to
I'm
you
done."
and you was homeless, and she stopped talking to you because she was talking to your girlfriend,
I didn't say stop talking to me. What I'm saying is the level. So I use
You ain't
percentage
gonna
to a point. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
To a point to paint a picture here. To paint a picture. Like, hey, how's it doing? And then your girlfriend around, and it's like, oh, girl, let me tell you about this and that. And then you sitting there and you be like this. Hold on. And then you like, well, fuck this shit. I'm leaving. That's what I'm saying. With the core. All right, let's get back to the core here. We said, right? We discussed. Why not introduce that friend to your girlfriend? And I said, why I don't like that idea. Because of scenarios like that. It happened to me.
So that's a very specific scenario.
Mm.
I just said it happened to me more than once. I don't like
but
that
don't
whole
be hurt by it though, because women are gonna have a different connection than what you know than what a man and a woman is gonna have.
Exactly. And knowing that before it even happens, it's like, I'm okay with introducing y'all, but it's like I ain't trying to sit there and say we all go parlay together because I know that's gonna happen. Because women just gravitate to women, and women, y'all have a deeper connection. Y'all connect differently.
So then, at what point then does your significant other be aware enough to notice that your friend that was always your friend is now communicating and being more of her friend, where she should be like, oh, you know what? Actually, I should probably back off on this because she was his friend first. Is that going to happen? That's right. It's not going to happen.
No,
Why should it though?
Yeah, it should. Because your woman is your woman. She should be more connected with you. She should see that this indiscretion's happening, and she should step up and be like, you know what? Actually, this isn't right.
Man, we dealing with planet Earth, not Mars or Jupiter, man.
Listen,
because I will say
it's about the responsibility, and it's about being respectful. You got to be respectful to the other person. You can't allow.
my phone dying.
Uh-oh. Get the charger. Oh, no. Oh, she said it seconds before it happened.
You in a relationship, you got to look. There's boundaries you got to start to cross. You got to put the line in the sand. You get in a relationship, you got to put a line in the sand. And guess what? Certain things you can't allow in that box. Certain conversations you can't have no more.
I'm not understanding why your mind's so clouded right now. You just talk about Khadijah, how y'all still friends. I didn't say.
But his relationship changed, though.
Yeah.
The friendship changed into a different type of friendship. It went from personal friendship to a generalized friendship.
Yeah.
It didn't end.
That's my point. My point is, you're still friends. That's why I said, how many times I said we can take the word best out of it. Now, when we take the word best out of it, then we talk about opposite sex friends now.
Yeah,
he still has that.
Yeah.
You can have opposite sex friends. That's you. The thing is it okay to have opposite sex best friends while in a relationship? No.
The more you were speaking, I said let's take that out of the equation. The word best.
All right.
Right?
So when you take that out, you can have female friends. Yeah.
So that's what I've been getting at for the longest.
But
you guys
that's not what you said. You said best friends.
Yes, it is. Bro, when you watch the replay, you're gonna see in the beginning that's the topic. Yes, best friends. And then after a while, I said, let's take the word best out of it. Like, what is going on here?
You gotta realize that any person can have the opposite sex friend, but you gotta remember the most important thing is making boundaries that
and respect.
Right, that they cannot cross. You can't call. Listen, the opposite sex cannot. You in a relationship cannot call your phone at 10 o'clock at night on no circumstances, none. Not when you in a relationship. If you're not living with, if you're not living with the opposite sex, let's just say we in a relationship. You in a relationship with somebody and you're not living with that person. Your friend, your female friend, should not be calling your phone at 10 o'clock trying to have a conversation with you. No. That's, if anything, your significant other should be doing that. And if she got to work the next day, it's a lot of things that play a part in that. And see, those are the boundaries. You're like, look, you can't call me at no 10 o'clock at night. Because what is a person calling you opposite sex at 10 o'clock at night? What they calling to talk about when they had all day to talk to you? Depends on their work schedule. That's important too.
Their car broke down.
First of all, yeah,
Okay, that's something different. Yeah.
See, there's some valid reasons, but just to BS with a person, no.
So
Yeah, you get answer the phone, get to the point. Okay, you just want to BS. I don't have time for this. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yeah.
So what makes that? What classify that person a friend? Go ahead, Amelie. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to support what Chef is saying and just do it in this way. When you are in a relationship, it doesn't matter. I like to look at it as having a king and a queen. So you have your king and you have queen, and who are you going to have as your counsel is basically your best friend. So let's really meet it out here. Are you going to rely on your queen, or are you going to rely on your king that in that relationship? Or are you going to start looking at the court? Are you going to start looking at the queen's court, or the queen's council? And are you having women in your king's council? So I'm seeing how these kind of can get muddied. And if she's in the king's council and then moving over to the queen's council, like you're saying, Desmond, then you're going to start to feel a certain type of way, oh my gosh, now it's different. And I did a
Betrayal.
podcast today.
Yeah.
It could lean into betrayal. Definitely feeling that for sure. But yeah, just a little bit of an identity shift as far as who am I and how am I relating to these people now? And I always like to look at it from a queen and king perspective, or a masculine feminine perspective, because we have those relationships within ourselves too. So if you're having, I have a lot of male wounds, and those are things that I've had to kind of work out and meet out in my life. And so in my inner journey, as I'm going and progressing forward, I'm looking at how am I relating to my inner king, and is it appropriate or is it not appropriate? And then that's going to then be expressed in my 3D realm of who's coming in, who is my king, who is my queen, what is my council looking like. Now, my council is all women. I don't have men in my council. And if I'm going to be in a relationship with somebody, I'm not going to the men in my life to answer problems. I'm looking to my king and saying, you're going to fix the problems, because that's why we're together. We're in union with each other. We're in a divine union. And I want to be able to rely on you as my stable rock.
Who do you turn to when the king is the problem?
You gotta address it within yourself.
And what if the king doesn't actually have a problem, and it's your interpretation that the king actually has a problem?
Then
who's to tell you that you might be wrong?
He's mirroring it to you. When you are in a relationship, you're looking at a mirror of yourself.
And are people generally capable of seeing the clear image and basically able to see that they're acting a fool, that they're actually maybe wrong, and that but usually people can't do that. Enlightened people can. Enlightened people can definitely do it. Absolutely. Look at themselves in a mirror.
We all have that ability. Nobody is better than anybody else. We all have the ability to do what I'm saying right now.
Mm-hmm.
And even be more. And I'm always looking for more. I have a divine mission here. And I know what my divine mission is. And if I'm looking for a king, I'm not going to look for a king that's going to have these, not that he has to be perfect, but that he is on his way of building and progressing in his own. Because I don't want to be, I don't want to be controlling the king. I don't want to be controlling a man at all whatsoever. And I've done that before. And it's disgusting to me personally. I don't like it. And so now, I've had to clean stuff out in myself to not be that controlling, manipulative woman. And I owned that. I took responsibility for myself, radical responsibility. And now when I'm engaging in a dating relationship, that's what dating is for. You're meeting out what qualities of this person do I like? Do we mesh well? Can I communicate with them on a mental and emotional level? Can we communicate on a sexual level and have boundaries? And are we able to have this aspect? If there's blind spots, that's where the dating portion of it, you can't just be blinded by lust. You've got to be on the watch of, is this somebody that I am willing to submit to as a woman? And that's what I look at. Am I willing to submit to this person? Where like a man is like, am I able to lead this woman? And
So
I do
if
ballroom dancing. So I'm like always looking at that energy of, I want to be a follower. I want that man to have this beautiful vision of how he's going to lead me. And I still have my own divine mission of what I'm here to serve for others or to serve to him. So like when you're saying if I need counsel from him, like I need to go to him and just have that open communication with him and say, listen, when you did this, I felt this way. What do you think you can do to help resolve that? Like what is the answer here? And that's where you have open communication, open boundaries. As a woman, like we're here to express our feelings. Like I'm feeling this way. And the guy he wants that. He wants to have a woman that has all these beautiful, chaotic feelings. It's exciting and it builds and creates this wonderful world for him to be in. Now, if he's choosing a woman because she looks pretty, but then she can't cook and clean, and he's like, man, I really wish that she could cook and clean. Like he's really like missed a blind spot.
I feel like a man truly wants a woman to be their peace. Maybe not as much chaotic and all these different things. I think a man looks for their woman to be their peace, to bring them down, to basically, and this is going to be a terrible analogy, but to basically mother them, to take care of them, to be now I'm not, like I said, it was a bad example, but like the feeling of nurture,
Yeah.
Basically nurture them and everything like that. So like chaotic everything of I'm going to tell you all my feelings and all that stuff. Well, a lot of times men have all the feelings, and when they try to resolve a bunch of feelings, women's feelings, a guy usually wants to resolve stuff. They want to fix stuff. A lot of women want to express their feelings. Well, the first reaction a guy is, okay, let me fix it. I'm feeling upset about this because this happened. All right, I'll fix that. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen. But I'm designed to fix things. I'm a guy. You have a problem. Go ahead, Chyna.
So I think it is more so of a misconception, because here's the thing. If you want a woman, women bring peace. Women are peace just in general, as long as that woman is settled within herself. But women bring peace. Women do not, even if we go back in history, there are not wars led by women. Women are not these chaotic beings that men like to make us out to be. It is just that we also have masculine energy. So if we mix our big emotions with our masculine energy, it is going to overpower you naturally, because
do men want masculine feelings in their woman? Because otherwise men would just go with men.
But this is where see, so follow right here. Like you just said, this is how you have to bring that woman the peace in those emotions. You have to stabilize those emotions in order for her to bring you peace.
So you're saying that I have to go out in the world, do everything to make a castle, make sure everything's okay and settle down, and then I'm also supposed to settle the woman as well? When
you
do we
only got to build the castle one time. What you mean? She got to clean it.
We have to maintain it. We have to maintain it, and we have to make sure that we don't lose that castle. We have to make sure that people don't take over that castle. We have to make sure that the people in the castle are happy and fed and all that stuff, and make sure you got the money. Then yeah, the women.
Those things as well.
I'm sorry, you went silent, Chyna.
She has to do those things as well.
I say that's those.
There was a really good chat. There was a really good chat you just had up from Tiffany, and she said he has to find peace in God. And so here's how I look at it. So it's God, man, so God covers man, and then man covers woman, and woman covers children, and that's the cycle. And if you're following that, if that's what you believe, if you're following that, then you know that you have a responsibility over that woman. And anytime that your woman is chaotic, I say chaotic because I have so many different feelings all the time. Like it just happens. It's something that is just, that's how we're built. That's how we're designed.
Womanly,
but
yeah.
when a man says, calm down, I got this, you don't need to be that way, everything is going to be fine, then he relaxes her nervous system to where then she finds peace and she's able to be in her creative nature and that nurturing nature and delivering the things that, as a helper and counterpart to the man, to create this beautiful union, then she's able to do it. And I think that's what Chyna is saying.
Yeah, because it's a muscle building thing. If you want me to get off of your back and trust that you can do these things, you got to show me that you can do them. You're only going to be able to show me that you can do them in the trying times that you need to do these things. So if I know that my man got it, I can calm him down in his time of frustration in that moment. I can reassure, that you're gonna get it done. Calm down. You're gonna get it done. The sweet little rubs on the back, the pats on the head, whatever. Women can do that. But you have to build that muscle. You're gonna have to put that piece inside of that woman before she can give it to you. That's why Amelia just gave you the.
But isn't that what women are supposed to bring? They're supposed to bring that piece.
I got to chime in real quick.
Go
ahead. First of all, I was listening to I'm sorry
Amelie.
about pronouncing Amelie.
Okay,
I got you. Amelie. I want to say something. First of all, you have to recognize the king in that man. That's number one. And in being a king, you have to know the characteristics of a leader. And so before you want to follow somebody, you have to see the characteristics in that man to see if he's worthy to lead you. That's key. And you have to know the characteristics of a leader. And so when you recognize those characteristics in that individual, you'll know this man is right for you as the individual, because there are certain characteristics some men do not carry because they have not been taught how to be a leader. And with leadership comes compassion, and you have to be compassionate, because women have a cycle. When they go through that cycle, they can be very emotional. So you need to know how to speak to them on a level of where they can be comfortable of talking to you. You know what I'm saying? That's not a feminine way. That's just knowing how to be a leader, knowing how to have compassion, knowing how to have empathy for that individual in the time of their need, because they are very emotional. Women are emotional. All women are emotional. But you have to know how to deal with that individual. So once you learn, and this is to the men, once you learn how to deal with that individual, then you'll be able to, because peace, you talk about peace comes with you first. So you have to be at peace with yourself. When you're at peace with yourself, you can give somebody else peace. But if you're not at peace with yourself, you cannot give somebody else peace. So that goes for the man, and then it goes to the woman. The woman can't give a man peace if he don't have peace of himself. He has to be in tune with himself. So when he's in tune with himself, guess what? Then he'll know how to give peace to somebody else. And that's his woman. That's his friend. That's his siblings. You have to have it. It starts with you first. And so when you have it together, you'll be able to give it to somebody else.
Because the job of the woman is to multiply what the man gives. Don't forget that. The job of the woman is to multiply what the man gives.
Multiply what he gives?
Yes, that's the job. That is the assignment of the woman, to multiply whatever it is the man gives her.
Yes.
To bear children?
Yes, he gives her semen. He gives her semen. She gives him children.
Not just children though, you know.
He gives her food. She makes a meal. He gives her a house. She makes it a home. Like women multiply.
Wait a minute, I make it a home.
Are you a woman?
No.
You give a house. She makes it a home.
I'm not joking. I'm what you saying. I'm about to show you something. Look, you said you make a home. I make a home. I cook. I'm a chef, and I'm not being like funny. I'm a chef, so I do all those things. So what that means?
They're talking about,
but
like,
she's still going to multiply that though, because at the end of the day, from the moment that she enters into it, it's statistically proven a man with a woman is better, and he performs better, and he does better, and he lives longer.
Oh, of course, without a shadow of doubt.
Than a man by himself.
Yeah.
So that's what Amelie
when she supports
saying.
when she's supportive of the man, of course.
If she's not supportive, why are you with her?
Bingo.
Because some people are desperate.
No, but
it's trauma bonding. Like people are like there's a lot of
some
trauma
people
out there,
do,
and people trauma bond, and that's just the way that it is until you start doing the inner work. And I want to just add on to what Chef was saying is, you know, it's about your you have to start within yourself. So your inner king and your inner queen need to be in union and within yourself to have any sort of peace within yourself. Otherwise, you might just be an NPC. But if you're a living man or a living woman, you're going to be in touch with both the masculine and the feminine energies within yourself. And it doesn't have to be like what I was saying, Chef, like you're cooking, like obviously there are different responsibilities, but overall in general, when a man gives to a woman, and this could be in a business relationship, so when you're in a work relationship, that paycheck that you're getting from your company that is paying you, like they're paying you because they're getting some sort of increase from it. So that's still a masculine and feminine relationship. So it works mostly in what I'm saying, because in traditional relationships, if that's what we're looking at, that is how it is. If a man is with a woman, she's going to bear children. She's going to make it a home. She's going to make the meals. And that's typically what men would want, I think, in a relationship, typically. So I'm not taking away from what you're saying or what you're doing in your life.
That's old school.
Yeah.
I like that you said
that's old school.
Yeah. I like that you said you make it a home, because it's always it's one of those things when you have that mindset, it's easy to set the tone that you want for that home as the man, because that's what the man is supposed to do. But who's going to maintain the tone of that home that you set?
Like I'll give you an example just to show you what you're saying, just to to reiterate what you're saying. Like my wife do the cleaning, right? So she does the cleaning, but there are things that I do to help her out. You know what I'm saying? And it's important. Like when she wash the clothes, I fold them. That's the agreement we made. Like when she wash, I fold. So she might go to the laundromat and bring the clothes. I gotta fold them. Now, do I do them right away? No, I do not do them right away. I get them done though. I'm being honest. I'm very transparent. I get it done, not right away. They might sit in the bag for I'm serious, for 2 days, maybe. 2 days. But then I get to them. I fold them. She come home. Look what? Come on, you women. What man you wouldn't love to have? You come home, the clothes there, your clothes all fold, tucked away, nice and neat.
Most women they don't have the patience to sit there and wait 2 days.
Exactly. See,
most times they sit there and say, "No, you ain't do that shit. I'm gonna do it myself." So
right,
but wait 2 days. I don't think it's gonna bear meaning at that point.
Nah, my wife.
It's gonna be like,
I got the right person for me, and we don't argue at all. So that we know, we don't do that.
She works.
Yes, she does.
All right. So you both have jobs.
Yes.
For it. Okay.
Yeah. Then I would say in that situation,
then yes, it should be 50-50.
Definitely need to be sharing.
Oh, absolutely.
Hold up. So excuse me. There is no 50-50 over here either. There's no such thing. I'm sorry.
Well, they're sharing.
No, you know what it is? I want y'all to know this, that when you have that mindset of 50-50, think outside the box. It's 100%. That's what it is. I give 100%. I don't give 50%. I give 100%.
It should be 60-40, and you should both be fighting for the 60%.
No, she gives me 100%. I give her 100. I don't give her half of me. I give all of me.
But that's not what she was saying.
I'm talking about. He said 50-50. No, there is no 50-50.
Okay, listen.
No, I meant sharing.
It's a thing.
Sharing.
It's a saying, right? Listen, everything in life is built on 100%, right? It's no such thing as 100. That's 200. Everything's built off 100. So we talk about percentage.
If I give 100 and she gives 100, what you mean? She's giving.
That's 200.
No,
that's 200.
No, she's giving 100% of herself.
We're not talking about.
Don't try to add those together. We ain't say 100 plus 100.
We're not talking about 100 as in giving it your all. We're talking about as far as duties. Everything in life is built on 100%. So you both can't give, like, you know what I'm saying? We're not talking about, I'm giving my all. That's what you're saying. We saying.
I just gave you an example of what she does, where I counter it.
Hold on. I'm gonna put it in this perspective.
All right.
Talk about the bills. I'm just gonna throw a number. Say your monthly bills is $5,000. It's just a number. You can't sit there and say I paid $5,000, she paid $5,000. Now you at $10,000. So somebody's pocketing the other $5,000. That's what I'm saying.
All right. So
you both can't give 100% of the bills. That doesn't make sense. So you blurring it a little bit.
Okay. So watch this. Now, see, you being that you use that number, watch this. It's wise for whoever makes the most money, they're going to accumulate most of the bills, because guess what? Someone is doing.
But he just said 50-50. You say no, that mindset.
Because let's say my wife. Let's say my wife make more money than me. She make $3,000 more than me, right? Of course, she's going to pay most of the bills. But guess what?
That's what he was saying, 50-50.
But I'm going to give all of what I have. So guess what? Whatever
we wasn't talking about effort. We wasn't talking about effort. But go ahead, finish.
I'm giving 100%. I didn't say nothing about finance. I'm giving 100% of myself.
You know what? Let's take the number out. Let's just replace it with all. All. I'm going to give my all. I'm going to give my all. She's going to give her all, and then we're going to have an all.
I like that. I agree with that.
We remove the numbers.
Let's take the numbers out. I'm giving my all. I'm not giving half or nothing. I'm giving all. So guess what? Yeah.
Des. Come on.
There you go. Hey, I like that. I like how you said that. That's right. Give my all. Because guess what? I'm all committed.
I'm all in.
But just to still be to get Dez's point across to what he's trying to say, and what DW is trying to say, what they mean by 50-50, in order to get 100% of the laundry done, it has to be washed, dried, and folded and put away. 50% of that job is washing and drying. The other 50% of that job is folding it and putting it away. So that is what they are meaning by 50-50. She gave 50 and you gave 50. So that's what they meaning when they saying 50-50. Y'all did 100% of the work, but y'all made it easier on each other by splitting it and doing taking half of the effort.
I can relate what you're saying. I'm not even going to say what you're saying is not right, because you can look at it from that perspective. So that is one way of looking at it. You can look at it from that perspective, but we wasn't talking about that. We talking about giving.
Yes, we were. That's exactly what we were saying. That's 100% what we were saying.
I'm saying I'm giving all my all. There is no. I'm not.
And that's what I was telling you. Okay.
Right.
So it's 3 against 1. We both said we all 3 said.
Okay, you're gonna give your all. You're gonna give your all.
I'm giving my all.
She's gonna give his all.
Oh, that's it.
Terrible. Hey, listen, guys. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes, man. So I'm about to cut this, but I enjoy this. This is the first time I did a group thing, and I'm probably looking to do a group thing every week, because
there's gonna be another one.
You on Friday?
Friday. I'm gonna be on Friday.
I am doing Friday. Friday is the same topic though, but it's just
It's different.
It's different.
No, it's the same.
It's a different topic. No.
How you gonna tell me who the host? Who the host?
I'm just telling you. You texted us what it is.
That ain't what you told me the topic was going to be.
Oh, get him! No, you told me something different.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Okay,
I gave let me tell you something. Hold on. Let's be clear.
I'm not going to say the topic, but
this was the topic. I gave 3 topics, and I said we probably going to only get through one because there's so many people. I said, but if we do move on, I had 2 other topics, right? So
not what you said to me, but okay.
Okay. So you mean like it was gonna be like okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because how you just said it, that's kind of how you said it to me. So that makes sense.
Trying to be on their side. No, Chyna.
I'm on everybody's side, man. I see everybody's side.
Time out. Look at the flyer. Since y'all say this wasn't the topic, look at the flyer. Let's look, like it says it on there. It's 3 topics on there, and this is one of them.
Don't do this topic on Friday though, Des.
Why? It's different people though.
No, I'm there on Friday.
I'm there.
I know. Well,
it's already 2 people. That's the same. You can't say it's all different people. You just contradicted yourself.
No, I didn't. Y'all was not supposed to be on today. What
You're right. You're right. I wasn't. You're right. Exactly. I'll give you that. But
neither was Chyna. But when people didn't
you just said it's gonna be the same. It ain't gonna be the same people, but it is technically.
You know what? All right. You know what? I will scrap this topic. So
no, I like the other topic.
So do you want for Friday? Do you want it to be what do women bring to the table? What do women bring to the table?
That's what you told me it was gonna be.
Oh my God, bro! I gave you 3 topics. Stop it.
You did not. I got the text message. Wait.
Should women?
Hold on. Tell me the topics real quick. What's the topic?
Yeah, go ahead. What are the 3? Say the 3. Des, what are the 3?
No, never mind. Because I told you I got the message. You keep cutting me off. So it's whatever.
No.
So we'll talk about Friday's topic since we're changing it. Jesus Christ, you guys are impossible.
If y'all talk about what women bring to the table, that would be such a good one because that's something that I hate. I'm not gonna be on for that one because man, I'm telling you, women be having it messed up and they think they don't gotta bring nothing but themselves to the table. Your mama ain't taught you nothing about being a good woman, learning how to watch your mouth, how you speak to a man, how you maintain your household, how you talk to your kids, how to get a man, how to keep a man, how to be a friend.
Chyna, you're gonna set this podcast on fire. I'm telling you.
So I was gonna say, just to give my input on that one, since I'm not gonna be there Friday. Men, if you don't see that woman with some good, stable, long-standing friendships, she ain't gonna be no good woman. And that's all I got to say on there. She don't got at least 3 friendships that's been more than 5 years. She 9 times out of 10 is not gonna be a good partner. A friendship is one of the easiest relationships to maintain. So if she don't have that. I guarantee it's not.
That might be a good way of looking at it from a relationship standpoint. That might be a good way of looking at it.
Wait, so y'all like that one or y'all like should women be submissive in a relationship?
Oh,
which one?
What women bring to the table?
Both of them. I like both of them. We can put both of them in it because women ain't gonna like that. They don't like the word submission.
We might not be able to cover 2. I know. So I'm like,
I'm gonna be honest. If this is Amelie, what do you think?
Well, I think both of those. I mean, we've kind of gotten off the track of what topic we were on today, just talking about relationships. But, I mean, you can intertwine both of those together. I think that would be a great stream topic. Or you can do both of them, have a group do one, and then have a group do another if you're looking for content. But, I obviously believe that in my life, I'm going to be a submissive woman to my king because I want him to be the best, strongest man ever. And I don't want to be around anybody that's going to be weakened. Like, I'm going to do everything in my power to solidify and support that man because my survival depends on it. And, I really love what Chyna said about how you should treat a man, what a woman does bring to the table. I'll say this story. So in January, I went to Vegas with my friend, and a guy was standing behind us, and we are just really drunk and trying to like redeem vouchers, and we're having a hard time because we had so many drinks. And I turn around and I see him standing there, and I was like, okay, like we obviously are not doing successful at this. Let's let him like let's let him do the thing, and then we can go back to figuring this out because we were really wasted. And he goes and he turns around and he hands me $100 bill, and he's like, "Good luck, ladies." And he walks off, and we're just sitting there giggling, and I'm like, "Oh my god, he gave us $100." And so we're like, so the next day I went and I put that $100 into a machine, and I won a $10,000 jackpot. That $100 that he gave me.
Let me hold some. Let me hold some. Bless me.
But I'm just
Can you
saying,
bless
like,
me money wise?
him as a man, when he gave me, I multiplied it. And that's why I say, like, what does a woman bring to the table? Well, first, she's the two people need to have emotional resiliency, meaning they've got to be able to contain themselves in any situation and be strong and stable and firm. And that doesn't mean that just because a woman is a woman, she doesn't have any masculinity. We all have masculine energy and we all have feminine energy. And it's really looking at that relationship from within and balancing that out. And I'm all about harmony. So, what does a woman bring to the table? She brings counsel and support and love and nurturing. And she's going to take care of things in the home. And she's also going to alert him to things that may be wrong because that's how our systems are wired. So, and then a man is equally going to be that counterpart. And so, you know, in Chef's relationship, him and his woman have really outlined, like, here's who's taking care of what responsibility. They have it both like laid out. I know some people who are
Symbiosis.
like, I'm a man, I'm taking, like, the house is yours, wife. You take care of all the house stuff inside the house, and anything that's the garage and beyond, I'm taking care of it. And that's how they have the relationship. They have it very well laid out. She has certain responsibilities with the kids, he has certain responsibilities with the kids. And as the identity shift, meaning like as the children get older, the man has a little bit more responsibility in like the boy's life, and the woman has a little bit more responsibility in the girl's lives as they like turn into teenagers and they're learning to socialize and they're being that counsel to the children. So there's a lot of identity shifting. There's a lot of communication that needs to be happening. There's a lot of just balancing out and figuring out who's going to do what, who's going to take care of what, and really outlining it to where there's not going to be any resentment in the relationship because something wasn't mentioned, or you know, you're not doing the dishes, you're not taking care of this, you're not taking care of that. You don't want any resentments to build up. You just want that open flow of communication, that open energy between the two of you, because you guys are one now when you're in that marital relationship. So a woman brings a lot to the table, just like a man brings a lot to the table. And maybe the woman is a little bit more intangible and intrinsic, where the man's might be a little bit more tangible and like in this 3D realm. It just depends on the relationship and what you're looking for and how well developed you are from the inside. Anyways, I think they're both great topics.
Got you.
All right.
Alrighty. So like I said, we have another group one on Friday, and then I'll work out some stuff for next week. What you was trying to say, something, Chef?
No, I can't wait. I'm excited.
Oh.
I'm excited.
All right, so that's going to conclude today's episode. Hope everybody that's viewed it, or whoever's going to view the replay, continue to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Everybody be blessed. Have a good rest of the night, and we'll stay in touch.
All right, guys.
Peace out, y'all. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys.
All righty.